Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Computer Game Show. Dave's not here. So my name is Sean Bell. I'm joined by Matt Murray.
Hello.
James Farley.
Hello.
And special guest, Sean Labode.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, Sean.
How's it going?
Very good, thank you. I just realised there's going to be two Seans. How are we going to differentiate between the two?
I wasn't going to go straight in and attack you on this, but yeah, I'm feeling a bit threatened, to be honest. I don't know what to do. Do we need a system?
I could be diet Sean, and you could be full fat Sean, if that helps.
Well, thanks.
Straight in.
Did you see the milk challenge? Is that what that's about?
Oh God, don't want to think about the milk challenge. There's still like a residual ache in my gut from that.
Are you still drinking milk, Sean, or is it?
I'm still on the milk. Yes, yeah. I mean not like I used to. It's basically on cereal or with biscuits, but not on its own anymore. That's been ruined for me somewhat.
See, I bought 2 today, and I was looking at them, and I was thinking I could do this. I could. There's no pressure.
The only way you're going to get that same high again is by having that much.
Probably not. I mean, I'd have to do 3, wouldn't I? And then it'd be yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, part of me has massive regrets about that, not just because of how it went down for me, but because I didn't put a timer on the screen. And I feel like we could have had, so the PB was, 7 minutes, 2, whatever, and we could...
Yeah.
I wish we'd timed it. I guess I could look at the stream and just kind of backdate it.
Yeah, you could just go back and measure it.
Maybe I will. Because then James, you can do as many streams as you want if you want to try and beat your best time.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I might do that. I'll sack off the Dark Souls 2 and just go for that.
Just go drinking milk.
Yeah.
Where'd you go after you finished every FromSoft game?
Yeah.
Drinking vast quantities of milk. Anyway, Sean, do you want to talk briefly about who you are and what you do? I know it feels like we're sort of asking you, like whenever we do this with guests, I always feel like I'm asking them to justify their presence here, but I always feel really weird doing your sort of bio for you. So, do you want
So, I'm Sean Labode. I've been in the games industry for about maybe 10 years. I used to work for a publishing company before called Sold Out, where I was a product manager. But earlier this year, in about March, I just wanted to take that bigger step in my career to actually, help with games to be made. And funny enough, there was a great opportunity at PlayStation to basically work on evaluating games. So loads of games come through and we kind of give it tiers. It's actually the dream job. And all whilst doing that, I've been also doing lots of streams, which is how, we've all got in touch. I've kicked that back off this year as well. So I primarily play tough games in a safe space. That's kind of like the brand. So a lot of From Software games there, Returnal, Celeste, Cuphead will continue to break me. And then occasionally I need to have a little break and just do something like Cooking Simulator, which again is very difficult. In fact, more difficult than any other game I've actually played. And that's more or less what I've been specifically doing this year. So thank you all for having me on this week. In fact, this weekend more or less started with one of the friends of the podcast, Cammy, showing his butt on a webcam, and I was like, everything's been downhill since then. So
oh my God, yeah.
It's been amazing.
Yeah, that was an incredible event, wasn't it?
It was a genuinely electrifying stream. You see lots of streams where it's okay, it's just like stands off on the stream and you watch it and it's enjoyable. But then there's these certain other streams where it really felt like a moment.
It was. I mean, we should probably hang on. Should we do the Patreon producers first?
Yeah,
and then we'll talk about Cammy getting his arse out on a public webcam. Patreon producers for this month, we've got Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks chat, Simon Nelson, Tom S, Jack Oven, Moomin Biscuit, Dave Ernsberger, Colin Brown, Gasman, Palace are Great Now, brackets Gabby Pereira, Graham Mackay, Rocketman76, Rex Reese, Happy Birthday Sam, Love from Neil, aka Bitch in Sync, 4 month running, Grey Jug and Claw, Fred Fenge, and the Radio Anywhere and TLNA crew. Thank you so much for your support, especially as we head towards Christmas, when everything costs a fortune and I've got no money. So, much appreciated. Right, Cammy getting his arse out. See, I didn't even see how this came about initially.
I only saw this going on Twitter, and I was like, because I think I'd missed it, and I was like, have I missed the arse? Have I missed the arse? So I was just like tuning in, and I had missed the arse, which was a shame.
Thousands were saying the same.
Yeah. Basically, our friend Cammy Toman, aka what is it? He's Co-Cammy on Twitch, isn't he? I think it's Co-Cammy. Anyway, He set up a stream where it was just a public webcam Like, one of those ones that's just set up in like a town centre and anyone can view it. And then he drove there and got his arse out on camera, which doesn't sound that interesting. I was like, my heart was racing when he was on the phone on the stream and he's like talking about where he is, and it's like, oh my god, he's going to be on camera any minute. It's going to be any minute now. This is going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. I mean, so I believe he said he was going to go and be on his webcam anyway, and then either someone said, yeah, how many subs would it take for you to get your ass out on the camera? And he said a number. And then, everyone threw subs in, and suddenly he was on his way to... I believe he was doing a job anyway over there, but then...
He was, yeah.
It just so happened, that it kind of escalated, and then,
I mean,
the link was tweeted, loads of people were coming in, and it was like 130 odd people by the end watching him get his ass out on camera. It was unbelievable. And like, if it wasn't
incredible.
It wasn't just the fact that he was there, the fact that someone else waved to him in a car, and that was CJ, his mate, and then CJ got in his car, and then someone else is there, and also like all the other people kind of essentially commentating on the stream in a Discord call, filling time while Camu's on his way there to the camera. Is absolutely
someone
brilliant.
else turned up with a sign saying "nice arse, mate" or something.
Yeah,
it was incredible.
Fantastic.
And bless him, he's been at great pains to point out that he technically didn't get his full arse out. He pretended to drop something in the street and bent over, and some arse was revealed. And I just said, look, the whole point is the camera feed, the quality of it was so bad that people can believe what they want. And if they want to believe they saw your arse, they can make that choice. So yeah, what an incredible thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a where were you moment.
I was going to say go back and watch the archive, but have you seen it? It's 3.5 hours long.
I mean, it's worth it, I think.
I mean, I'm assuming somebody clipped the arse.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we did.
Clips were shared on our own Twitter account, James.
Yeah.
I don't follow that.
No kidding. Feedback. Have we got any feedback, Matt, on the last episode?
Yes, absolutely. We're going to start with Andrew O'Connor's Filthy Mouth. Dear TCGS, I was watching an older talk server the other day and need some closure. Did you ever find out what Andrew O'Connor was actually saying on the Krypton Factor final? Now, this is in reference to a video... Well, we did a talk server of Krypton Factor months ago, and on that, there was a game where it's basically spot the difference. There's a video was played, it's like a 5-minute video, and then a video was played again, and you had to spot the difference between two videos. But what happened in this video was it was a man and woman singing a song. They were at this dinner table, and at one point the man stands up and gets in the woman's face, and it looks like he shouts the C word.
He doesn't even shout it. It's quite casual. It's very dismissive.
Yeah. And he says whatever it was. He says it a lot, and like we obviously absolutely died laughing. Absolutely one of our highlights on the Patreon talks over this year, and we put it out as a clip on the TCGS Advent calendar, which I don't actually believe we've mentioned on the
haven't.
pod. Yeah, we'll come back to that in a minute. Anyway, yeah, in terms of what they actually said, so it sounded like the C word. We believe he actually says hun.
Yeah.
Hun is the actual word.
But it's the way he says it. It's like he says it with such sort of venom as well that it's,
I mean, we'll never know. Again, it's like the Kamizar situation. The source isn't enough to really, have a firm opinion either way, so you just got to believe what you want.
I mean, if anyone listening knows Andrew O'Connor and could get in touch with him and find out, that'd be brilliant, because we tried and he's not on. Well, actually, we didn't try. We looked on Twitter and he's not there. But if anybody,
that's as much effort as we're willing to put in.
Basically, yeah.
Brilliant.
But also just on the Advent calendar, we didn't mention this last week, but on our socials every day over December, well, up until December 24th, we're putting out a clip or something from the show over the year, or our Patreon stuff, or talks over just some of our kind of favourite moments over the year. So to go to our socials every day and there'll be another video. So far we've had some bangers already, and
we have. It's been very enjoyable.
We've got plenty more. We've got another 20 odd to go. So look out for that.
Are we doing 25 or 24?
It was always scheduled 24, but I'm not averse to having a 25th one.
I mean, we did all kick off the other week about Advent calendars with only 24 doors on them. So it's a bit rich if we don't. We need to think of something.
Yeah. Oh no. I've already got 20 odd. But there's so many more I haven't really kind of delved into. But yeah, no doubt we'll find some stuff.
Cool. All right, what's next?
Okay, Nick Gersman. Matt is a fucking idiot. He went
Whoa.
mental because Halo will have its campaign split into chunks. Yet he creamed his pants over Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is exactly that. Matt, you are a fool and a goon. I mean, with all due
I mean, for
respect,
starters,
Nick.
just to clarify once again, Halo's campaign is not being split into chunks. Me and James just seemingly both, I think we just Mandela affected that. We both just
we
decided that was the truth, and I can't find a single thing that even suggests it now. I don't know where that came from. But yeah, the Halo campaign is not split into chunks. It's all coming out on, is it the 8th or the 9th?
It's the 8th.
It's the 8th, isn't it?
I think the reason we did that is because the development of it seems to have been somewhat torturous. We kind of assumed that it was going to be like that because it feels like they're just like leaking things out here and there. But obviously not.
Or maybe we just misread the same thing about, them sort of drip feeding elements of it. I don't know. Really weird.
But in reference to Nick's feedback, I mean, it's entirely different things. One, Final Fantasy VII, that's like an extremely long game anyway.
Yeah.
A Halo single-player campaign is, 8 to 10 hours?
Mm-hmm.
Really? So
Probably.
It's incredibly different things to split an 8 to 10 hour single-player campaign over potentially multiple chunks, as was at some point reported last week, but by this show only. Versus Final Fantasy VII, which was, like 56... Well, I mean, the first... Part 1 of Final Fantasy VII Remake was like a 50-hour game. So it's very, very different things. Also, like, Halo's... Yeah, that's why I went... That's why I was pretty angry. Also, because I hadn't heard that before up until that point. So it's like news just being dropped on my head from nowhere.
Yeah.
That's why I was angry. But it doesn't matter in the end because it doesn't actually mean anything. It's not true.
Yeah. Not true.
Not true at all, so who cares? So I'm looking forward to your apology, Nick. I've been waiting by the feedback inbox all week.
I mean, do you think he kicked off his feedback with "Matt is a fucking idiot," knowing that you'd be the one reading it out as well? Because that seems a bit much.
Almost certainly. I mean, I did the same.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. So there you go.
Fair enough.
Brad from Iowa. Hey fellas, the conversation about getting weird food like big crisps reminded me of a time when I went to pick up a pizza from a take and bake pizza place. I went to the counter and told them my name, and they handed me a pizza that I instantly realised was not correct. I told the employee that my pizza was wrong, and they said, "No, that's number one pizza with jalapenos. I just made it myself." I asked them where the jalapenos were, and he pointed to little green circles that were definitely not jalapenos. I explained that those were not, in fact, jalapenos, but green olives, and they said, "Are you sure?" I was sure. I can't imagine there are many qualifications to work at a take and bake pizza place, but one of them is surely being able to recognise what different pizza toppings look like. Anyways, keep it a good show. I'm so pumped for Gotti. Appreciate you all from Brad.
Cheers, Brad.
Do you know what? I'm having a similar problem at the moment. Because twice now we ordered pizza from the place here, which is difficult in itself. Each time I've okay, I'd like some pepperoni on this, and each time it's arrived, no pepperoni, just jalapenos. Not sure what that's about. Yeah, it's a bit odd.
I mean, what's the German for pepperoni?
No, it just says pepperoni, and then
okay.
Unless I've grossly misread the situation, I'm not sure. Which is totally possible because I did this thing today. Did you see that tweet I did earlier with the sausage roll that wasn't?
I did.
What were they?
It was cabbage. It was absolutely vile. So it was like there was a box right in the shop, and I thought this looks like sausage rolls, and I'd be well up for that at the moment. And didn't read the text because obviously I can't entirely read the text, but the picture looked fine. Brought
You've
it
got Google
home.
Translate on your phone, haven't you?
I know, but I couldn't be bothered.
It's just,
I just looked at the picture. The picture looked fine, Sean. It was fine.
That's exactly how he picks news stories, James. It Sean doesn't go any further.
Just to go into the detail. Yeah.
Looks like a sausage roll to me. Bye.
Well, it did, and then so I brought it home, and it was like, okay, 45 minutes in the oven. That's annoying because that's quite a long time.
45 minutes,
exactly,
wow.
Yeah. And my oven's not that good, and so I put it in there, and I was like, that is a horrendous smell that is coming out of that. Like and I thought it does smell like cabbage, but then I thought maybe it's just going to be like the meat with bits of cabbage in it or something. That's fine. And then I took it out, and then I found out, yeah, it's not pastry, it's just cabbage. Like it's just meat, wrapped in cabbage.
So right, so so when you said cabbage, I assumed the innards were cabbage.
Nope, it's
meat wrapped
pastry.
in cabbage.
Yeah, and it smelled awful and it tasted awful.
Okay.
So I threw it away. But yeah.
Really chuffed that you moved. Yeah, is it going?
Yeah, delighted. But yeah, this is why I
cool.
need to learn German because it is a problem. Or use Google Translate. There's that as well.
Yeah, that's why it exists.
Yeah, I mean, I do that for the bank letters and stuff, but for things that have got pictures, well, you don't need to. It's fine. Just guess.
Okay, Jake Barlow, the Harmonix chat. You guys should really give Fuse a bash. Picked it up recently for about £17. Seems to be a permanent price on the Xbox store, and it's everything DJ Hero should have been. Seriously makes you feel like a superstar DJ when you drop a decent beat, and it's pretty spectacular how they've made Billie Eilish's Bad Guy work with Never Gonna Give You Up. There's a campaign of sorts to follow, but it's at its best just going through the free play mode and pretending you're whatever the modern version of Fatboy Slim is. Thanks, from Jake.
I think, isn't Fatboy Slim still going? I don't think he's retired, has he?
I haven't heard his stuff for a
Old
long
Norman
time,
Cook.
but I'm sure he's probably still doing some stuff.
Still keeping busy,
Yeah. Sean, other Sean, have you
I was going to say.
I have seen it being played. Someone came to a housewarming of mine this summer, thought it would be fun to install this game where instead of having music that's played by just my Alexa, it was, no, let me mix this stuff. I'm like, video games, playing music at a housewarming, this is going to be very interesting. I was more intrigued, actually, how many different tracks would actually kind of fuse itself together, because I thought it sounded like it was kind of linear. Like in that example just there from Jake Barlow saying Billie Eilish's Bad Guy to Never Gonna Give You Up. Yep, I get it. It sounds like it could mix well. I was more intrigued to see how other tracks would blend, and the illusion was broken. It was a mess, and we quickly had to kick this friend out. Maybe it was just my friend's ability of actually DJing and using this tool, and maybe the game is perfect that way and just wasn't skilled enough. But you know what? For 17 quid, yeah. I mean, I would give it a go, but I wouldn't turn up to one of you guys' house and be like, hey, forget about having, music here. Let me just play a game in front of all of you, because yeah. And Harmonix, I mean, that's a different story.
I think you should do that at someone's wedding. I think you should offer to do the music. Or a funeral, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do mine if you want. I'm not fussy.
You can relift the mood, couldn't you, with Bad Guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, could you imagine?
I mean, it's a risk anyway, like going to a house party and saying, oh, do you want to play my music? Or here's my choices for the music. It's a bigger risk to potentially kind of mix it yourself. And it's an even bigger risk. So I'm going to do it while playing a game. So to turn that stuff off, I've got a great 8-hour set full of Billie Eilish and Rick Astley.
Yeah.
It's basically that.
Yeah, I'd happily have Guitar Hero back, though, in fairness. All in fairness. I just prefer having the instruments there.
James, do you feel like... You obviously love DJ... Guitar Hero and stuff. Are you interested in this at all, or...
No, not really.
You sticking to guitars?
No, I like Rock Band. Rock Band was good and Guitar Hero, but yeah, DJ Hero, I never played it or anything like that, so yeah, not really that bothered.
Is this because Fuse is a bit more like a card game? Is that what's throwing you off, James?
Yes, definitely, yeah. Are there cards involved?
Is it? I mean, maybe I'm getting that wrong. My understanding was Fuse was like essentially the digital version of Drop Mix. Is that the case, or is that not?
I don't believe it is exactly that. I think that was the early comparison, but I think it's
right.
I don't think it involves cards at all. I mean, I haven't played it, so I can't say. But
and it doesn't involve plastic guitars, so I'm not interested.
No, there's zero plastic actually, which is a bit of a shame.
No.
Okay, we're going to go through Mary Queen of Scots. I was mindlessly scrolling through my Twitter feed of one of my most revered podcasts when I stumbled upon a short video that appeared to show a gentleman exposing his nether regions. Something about this clip seemed familiar. Close inspection confirmed my suspicions. It was my hometown, Linlithgow, about 30 seconds walk from my front door. I feel personally violated. I don't expect to see that kind of content on your family-friendly feed, and certainly not in my local environment. I'm now triggered when I pass that spot on my dog walk. The dog has started to look at me funny. Other people, they just know. Can I have your assurance that Patreon backers get a lot more of this kind of thing before I subscribe, please? If only it was aiming to do with us. We were merely amplifying the arse.
Yeah. Sadly, it wasn't any of us. I mean, if you're after filth, there was that episode of the Patreon show with the Sonic fanfic. That was pretty good. Have we talked? No, I was going to say if we talked about anything else rude. I mean, we've talked about Dave getting. Oh my god, I always keep forgetting the term. What operation did Dave have?
You took the vasectomy.
The vasectomy, thank you, yes. Do you know what it is? Because every time I try and remember the word vasectomy, I remember when we got one of our dogs neutered. And we had an Australian vet who would only ever refer to it as the dog getting zapped. So that's so whenever vasectomies come on, I'm like, yeah, getting zapped, yeah. It's just rewritten in my head.
That for me is what Dave was doing. Right? Yeah, he got zapped, and
he got zapped.
But no, unfortunately, Mary, no, it was nothing to do with us. We were merely just sharing it because it was top notch content.
No more arses behind the Patreon curtain. Sorry.
No, it's a big shame, but there you go. That is it for feedback. If you want to leave us feedback, go to tcgs.co/deartcgs.
James, I just realised you're probably excited. You think I'm going to do a funny news intro, don't you?
You haven't done one of those for ages. I had no expectations this time, Sean.
Good, because I haven't. What's the news, James?
Okay. Anyway, God, that was terrible. That was like a laugh like you get like on TV. Anyway, Sony are overhauling PlayStation Plus, apparently with new tiers and streaming. So this is from Bloomberg, and they've said that Sony is likely to keep the PlayStation Plus like branding, but then merge it with PlayStation Now, and then also offer a catalogue of titles from every PlayStation platform, apart from the Vita, for some reason. I don't know why that just gets binned off. I mean,
okay.
The Vita was so good; it's just such a shame. But anyway, apparently the new Plus is going to be a 3-tier service, with the lowest tier like offering the same as it currently exists at the moment. So that'll be like online multiplayer and a couple of PlayStation Plus games and cloud storage or whatever. And then there'll be a middle tier that will include a catalogue of downloadable PS4 and eventually PS5 games, apparently, which surprises me. Although I don't think there'll be first-party ones, but that's my thing. And then the top tier would also add on-demand streaming and games from the first 3 PlayStation consoles and the PSP. And apparently they're going to then phase out PlayStation Now. That's going to be gone as like a standalone option. And I mean, understandable, because apparently as of May last year, it only had 2.2 million subscribers. So yeah, it hadn't really hit the numbers. But yeah, this is basically what everyone's been asking for like a long time, is that they shake it up some way like this. My only wonder here is like, how much is this going to cost? Like, what are they going to be charging for this? Like with these different tiers? Because this sounds good. So I'm just thinking, how are they going to make it so everyone's angry? Like.
Yeah, and if they're saying that what we currently have is the lowest tier, then obviously the other ones are going to cost more. It's not going to suddenly be, oh, guess what you're currently paying is one of the better tiers. So yeah. I mean, we can't really guess, can we? It's unless anyone fancies a bet. We can
totally guess, and then everyone will get annoyed.
Yeah, because you love just making shit up, James.
I know, because it's fun, and then you get annoyed.
But yeah, as you say, it's a positive move. It's something people have been asking for. I mean, people are definitely going to read this and be like, "Oh, good, they're doing Game Pass," but it's not going to be that, is it? Which is fine, because it's
going to be on the way to it. But yeah, it's not. I mean, like I said this on Twitter. Like, one of obviously the most compelling parts of Game Pass is the fact that games come day one to Game Pass, first party games come day one to Game Pass. Games like Halo Infinite and Forza Horizon and previous Microsoft games, and and obviously a whole load more in the future. Sony aren't going to do it. They don't need to do that. So without that, it'll be interesting to see what they do to make this a bit more compelling without that big positive that they're not going to do. So
yeah. Absolutely.
It's interesting.
It is.
Other Sean, what do you think? I mean, obviously, you give us now like the exclusive on this in terms of the pricing, the exact games, release dates, etc. So go ahead.
Like an episode of Line of Duty, just no comment.
Right, okay. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people saying, "Hey, that they're doing this finally," and that's correct, because that's exactly what we've wanted in terms of what the prices were about. I think it'll be a pretty shrewd move to make the bottom one, which this piece on gamesindustry.biz says it will basically be like it is now. The lowest tier would be play online games, and you get a smattering of free monthly titles. It'd be pretty shrewd of them to reduce that, so it's actually cheaper than it is currently, I think. I mean, it's 50 quid a year, isn't it, for that?
Yeah, thereabouts.
It'd be pretty shrewd if it's like, if they said, okay, actually that one now is 40 quid RRP, which is still cheaper. I know, like, actually most people can get PS Plus, of the year for 30 quid when it's on sale, but they say, the RRP is now 40, which is technically cheaper than it is now. The middle one is maybe a tenner more than it is now. So it's like, it's not a massive upsell. I might as well get the next tier above if they're currently paying kind of the standard price for the current PS Plus. And then the one with all the bells and whistles, which again, like Microsoft, they can add extra benefits. Like, hey, if you're a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, you get these Halo Infinite downloadable packs every month and this, that, and the other. And I think there's probably been other benefits as well. They could do that and say, if that is maybe 70 quid, so that's 20 quid on top of current RRP. Like, I think that'll be enough of an impulse buy to at least get everyone to upgrade to the next available tier. But I mean, that's what I think would be quite a shrewd move, but who knows?
I think what we've learned over the last couple of years, really, with this is that whatever this is going to be, it's going to cost more than we'd like it to be. It's going to be more expensive. And
I mean, we've seen a lot of decisions from Sony that are very much like they are on top and have not had to, compete necessarily with Xbox on a number of levels. So, is this going to be another one of those? We'll find out, I guess, when they announce the pricing. But
I mean, I like to think it won't be as much of a piss take as Nintendo's expansion pack, which was double the price of the existing service.
Look, if the N64 games had all worked, no one would have minded. It's just
they're adding Paper Mario to it. That's coming soon.
Yeah, one game.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Bless them.
No, I think this is interesting. I mean, a lot of other people were saying, "Oh no, doesn't this all mean actually all these games are just?" Oh yeah. So the top tier is on-demand streaming and games. So it's not like you can download these games to your system. It's all streaming. That is going to come with its own kind of issues or caveats. They're never going to be 100%. With latency and artifacting and stuff that you get with streaming. So that's interesting. I mean, all this. It's doing stuff that we want them to do in terms of combining both Plus and Now.
Yeah.
So
it makes sense.
I mean, we're interested to see what happens when it launches, if it launches.
Yeah. Cool.
It won't be until next year, will it? Sometime. So we'll see.
Does it actually say that, or is that just you being negative?
Well, no, it's assuming that's. I mean, I'd say that's a pretty safe bet. That it's not
to be
going to
fair,
be.
I've just realised what month it is. So next year probably is a pretty safe bet. Sorry, carry on.
I mean, I also like the original Bloomberg article says it's targeted to launch next spring. So
okay, cool.
There you go. Yeah. Anyway, Hazelight have dropped their trademark for It Takes Two. This is because they filed it in May 2020, and then when they publish this, other parties are allowed to oppose it like later in the year if they want to. And Take Two twice asked if they could have this window for this option extended in case they wanted to oppose it. And then, so now Hazelight have just abandoned the application entirely. And, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to have to, rename it?
So hang on. So Take Two, the publisher, have kicked off about a game being called It Takes Two.
Not entirely.
I mean, that's... Well, okay, go on.
They have, but then it's because of the name. Like, I don't know if they've just taken it. I mean, it's very strange that they would do that.
So how does this work? I'm confused. So how can they sell the game if they don't own the trademark to the name? Is that not a requirement in and of itself?
No, because it seems that what you do is you register for it, and then there's a period of time when it can be challenged.
Right.
And I think you can still use... I mean, I'm assuming you must still be able to use it during that time, because otherwise how else would they have launched the game? If that had happened.
Yeah, so that's what I'm struggling with. Yeah.
But then other parties can come along and say, well, hang on, we may have a problem with this. And then Take Two have then asked, well, can we extend the period with which we may have a problem with this? Because we're not sure. And,
right.
no, they didn't say they're not sure, obviously, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And, but it's strange. So then Hazelight have just given up now. And so I assume they're just going to have to rename it, aren't they? Which is odd.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they will. I don't think it necessarily means they have to rename it. It just means that they won't own the trademark for it. They can still have the name. It's just that they can't...
I think that's what... Yeah, that's...
the term... It Takes Two from other people doing things, but they don't have to rename the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's thrown me is if they don't own the trademark, surely they're not allowed to sell the game with that name on. But obviously, it hasn't stopped them, as you say. So that's I mean that's just a hole in my legal knowledge.
Well, also there's a games industry lawyer called Richard Hogue who talked to Eurogamer about this, and he said that Take-Two have been very, very aggressive, like on this sort of front with trademarking, like with names, and over the last. Apparently, they've made 25 challenges in the past 3 months alone.
Jesus.
And I mean, even things like using the word civilization, because obviously they own Civilization franchise, so they're trying to get people to stop using things. I mean, it's a bit like do you remember the Edge trademark thing that was
he was a patent troll, wasn't he?
Basically, yes.
He was just a
Tim Langdell. I think
I mean, we've talked before about how sometimes this is just the nature of the beast in terms of copyright law. It's just very shit in that you have to sort of actively defend your trademarks on all fronts, or else it starts looking shaky when something actually quite contentious happens. But I mean, this seems really excessive, doesn't it?
There must be a loophole around this. Like, again, Take-Two, and it takes plural too. Like, surely if they're going to lose it, just change the 2 to a number. And then is that the loophole? Like, can you get around? I'm not a lawyer, but it helps with the search engine. I don't know. It's
And just the idea that anyone would get confused between a video game and a publisher of completely different video games. I don't know. Just seems very odd. I'm surprised because It Takes Two was published. It's published by EA, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's EA Originals. It was
but I guess Hazelight have not had any access to EA's legal team on this, because surely their advice and angry letters would have been written. I don't know. Very odd. But a shame. But
Sean, have you played It Takes Two?
I haven't, but obviously.
Please, can you play it before the
I'm
game of the
going
year
to. I've agreed. I'm going to play it with my wife. Which was not the initial plan. I was going to play it with Chris initially, and then, but then I've got a million other things that I'm playing with Chris at the moment. So I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm going to actually play it with my wife. Although I had to reassure her, I was like, right, I want you to play this game with me. Please don't read anything into the fact that it's about a couple that are breaking up and having problems. That's not what this is.
Yeah, this isn't how I'm going to announce it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's this week that is happening. So
okay, yeah, so you are going to play it before Game of the Year?
Yes, 100%,
okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Good.
Other Sean, have you played this game?
I have indeed. I have played it with my fiance, and
cool.
Funny enough, you to talk about breakups. No, it actually worked the opposite way. It actually brought us closer together. It's fantastic. No,
nice.
Obviously, no spoilers, but I'm a big advocate for good co-op games, especially when it's got a good story. So yeah, it's just great to hear that it might be considered for the Game of the Year, actually, because that's top shelf stuff out there.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
What else?
Next story. Bioshock's setting and time period may have been revealed. This is by Colin Moriarty. Yeah. Don't shoot the messenger.
Go on.
Anyway, he says, according to his sources, that Cloud Chamber's take on Bioshock is going to be in a fictional Antarctic city set sometime during the 1960s, which means obviously then it's a kind of concurrent with Bioshock 1 and 2 at the same sort of time. Okay. And he reckons it's going to be called Borealis, and that's going to be the name. But there you go.
Fair enough. Could this not have been a Fantasy Zone thing?
It could have been.
This is more in the realms of the Fantasy Zone.
But I've got weirder stuff for the Fantasy Zone, Sean.
Okay, well,
for the Fantasy Zone, I usually go for stuff which is not on the mainstream websites and stuff. This has been all over everywhere, so it's it feels a bit like everyone knows it already. But yeah, I mean, is anyone interested in Bioshock? Like a new one? Because I would be.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Infinite had some real standout moments for me. I think overall, I don't think I enjoyed a fair bit of it. Certainly worth it for certain sections of it. And obviously there was, this is not necessarily the game's fault, but obviously it was quite a climb down from that initial footage we saw.
Yeah, massively.
So there was some disappointment there, which obviously if I hadn't seen said footage might not have been a problem. But yeah, fine. I'm keen to see where they go with it next. I mean, people fucking love Bioshock. It's definitely a big deal, whatever they do with it next. So yeah.
Yeah,
Anyone
I never
else?
played the first one. The only one I've played is Infinite, and yeah, amazing
really?
start. And I enjoyed it overall, but it wasn't as compelling towards the end. But I got through it, and I'm glad I played it, and it was enjoyable and interesting. But I haven't played the first two, and
Oh man, they're really good. I mean, I don't know
they're great.
don't know how they've aged, but
I mean, Sean, have you played any of these at all?
Is that to me? Sorry?
Yes. Sorry, other Sean. Yeah.
yeah.
okay, but we need to find a solution. This is way too hard.
We should. I'm a big fan of most of Kenavin's stuff, so it'll be interesting to know if he's connected to it. Most of my love actually came from System Shock, actually, when I was growing up. So hearing about Bioshock, fantastic. Bioshock 2, maybe not so much. But I feel I appreciated Infinite a lot more because of how it ties into the universe of Bioshock. So without, again, too many spoilers, just knowing the word lighthouse connects the games together. So if they're going to be doing something, an additional game, I just want it to at least tie back into what they've done, because without tying it, it's already a self-contained franchise anyway. Like, it makes sense. It's all wrapped. Once you finish Infinite, you kind of know that it doesn't need to have anything more. So if they're going to, open up Pandora's box again, I just really hope that it's kind of tied back in, even if you're going to see some of the characters like Booker DeWitt or, a Big Daddy or something. But, hopefully it's in good hands. So yeah, I'm all about it. But if it doesn't happen, I am fine, because it's wrapped, it's self-contained.
yeah, totally.
Yeah, one of my favourite bits of Infinite, even though I have no kind of context for the rest of the story, was all the mystery, and it goes to some pretty weird places where I'm sure if I knew the history and like the characters and stuff from previous games, it'd be an even bigger kind of bang. But I still thought that stuff was really cool, and I know nothing about the series anyway, so.
Oh yeah, no, definitely play. I mean, I enjoyed 2 as well. I know it's not as well thought of, but yeah, no, the Bioshock 1 and 2 are wicked, man.
Well, 2 had that really good DLC though, didn't it? That everyone always goes on about.
Oh, that's right.
Minerva's Den or whatever. That's supposed to be really very good. Like,
never played that. Probably should. Never will.
Do you reckon the first 2 would still hold up well today?
Yeah, I reckon so. I mean, they've been like
re-released, haven't they? Recently?
Yeah, they've been remastered and stuff. And it was just like, even if, in terms of like, environmental detail and stuff, maybe they don't hold up, but it was all about the art direction and just how believable Rapture felt. Yeah, man, I think it's still well worth checking out. Definitely.
Okay. How would we feel about a connected Battlefield universe? Crossing multiple games and studios?
I mean, aren't they still having technical troubles with the new one?
Forget about that.
Okay.
Forget that, doesn't matter.
Okay, all right.
How would you feel about, like...
I'm very intrigued to know more, that's what I will say.
Okay, so anyway, DICE's general manager, Oscar Gabrielson, is leaving, and Vince Zampella is taking over, as being like the project lead for the whole of the Battlefield franchise.
Okay,
and
well, first of all, that's fantastic news. That's exactly what Battlefield needs.
And apparently, his mission is to grow Battlefield and meet players where they play through various experiences and business models. I mean, that sounds very exciting. That sounds perfect. What do you think, Matt? How do you feel about this?
Well, when I heard this news about them wanting to do other things and other games, I have loved the Battlefield games. 2042 looked great, and then it wasn't enough. It wasn't compelling enough for me to play it. And also with Halo Infinite coming out, I was like, well, there's no chance now. Combine that with, I've heard like a fair bunch of technical challenges with the new one, but also a lot of reviews said actually the best thing is the Portal mode, which is where you play old Battlefield games.
Oh, that's
and the fact that the best part of 2042 was just having the ability to play the old stuff was quite damning.
Yeah.
On the latest Battlefield. If the latest Battlefield, the best way is playing the old stuff, then alarm bells there.
Yeah.
And then for them to say, actually, I mean, so in my mind, God, can they do another Battlefield where it doesn't quite bang straight away? I mean, how many more have they got in the tank if each one they release doesn't quite live up to the previous ones? And
well, that's the whole point. The whole point with this is they want to create like what they're calling an interconnected world with shared characters and stories, like not just with just like the main Battlefield game. There's going to be others as well that other studios are going to work on, and it's all going to like link in together and all that kind of stuff.
I don't. Is this some? I don't know. On the one hand, I feel like saying, "Is this something people really want from Battlefield?" But then I really loved Bad Company 1 and 2, which certainly had characters in them, and that's why it was good. One of the reasons. Like, I mean, the multiplayer in Bad Company 2 is still probably the series' high point for me. But like, the campaigns were genuinely great, and there was some really funny writing in them and some likable characters. But I don't think that's what they're talking about here. I don't know.
It's weird because they've taken that single player campaign from the current one.
Yeah.
But now they want to talk about characters and so on and so forth. I mean, I this is really interesting because I've enjoyed the Battlefield games and other ones that people love, like you just mentioned, Sean, like Bad Company 2. Like, could they do another one of them? Everyone
I'd love it if
says
they did.
that's the one they love the most. And yeah, there's seemingly no chance of there being one of them.
Yeah.
But maybe this is now that chance.
What? See, I've never played Bad Company. What was the deal with that?
Oh.
Go on.
every time I meet someone who hasn't played it, I was like, you need to get on. Just imagine good Battlefield with good writing. Best way to describe it, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like a team of like misfits all just come together. I can't remember the story entirely, but again, the comedy, the writing, just the fact that they were almost like family at the end of it, and just the scenarios that they got themselves into, and it was just beautiful, and it's kind of what reminds me of good writing as well as action. Like, we could overdo the action in these service games and just be like, yep, I'm in it for the quick reward. But when it comes to like good story and you care about these these people who end up being your brothers, and I'm part of the band that wants a Bad Company 3 because it's just like I want to know how the resolution to number 2 happens. But going back to like the original topic here, like, isn't the whole point of Battlefield that it's always set over different years, so you're not really going to have the World War ones coming facing against the future tech and all that stuff. So I don't know how that's going to work out unless there is actually like some kind of Doctor Strange portals coming out and you're just going into the future on your horse, taking out a tank or something crazy like that. Like, it doesn't make sense. Battlefield's all about the years, because the years are always the number at the end of the title. So how is that going to be shared?
Yeah. Just seems odd. Surely, though, I mean, as much as we love Bad Company, like, surely the core Battlefield audience is still just waiting for a really good Battlefield game to come out and provide a solid, stable, really good team-based tactical shooter. Which, like, when was the last time they definitely successfully launched with a bang with a Battlefield game? Do you know what I mean?
It's been a while, hasn't it?
I mean,
at least they didn't say, this is the Battlefield metaverse or something
True,
like that.
They haven't called it a metaverse. They've got that in their favour. Yeah. So that's something. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, interesting to see what this turns out to be, but from the information we've got so far, it seems odd to me, and I don't know. Doesn't sound like it makes
much sense. But the fact they got
but
Vince Zampella in, that's obviously great. I mean,
True.
He absolutely knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. I guess that's all I can say.
Yep.
It's ultimately good because I didn't want Battlefield to die, but every time you hear about a new game coming out and it just not quite living up, and
this is what's been so strange, isn't
being
it?
Incredible, and this one obviously, like Halo Infinite's multiplayer beta kind of shadow dropped on the same, like just a few days before this one came out.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow, I mean,
really, EA
like
must have been delighted by that. Just
it's
just like we're just releasing
absolutely
this,
sticking the boot in. So if they can do something, make the Battlefield series come alive a bit better and actually give it some oomph, then that sounds good to me.
Yeah, totally. And again, like you say, like, the trailers they were putting out for the new one, I was like, oh my god, I am fucking back in. This looks incredible.
Yeah, same here.
And then I literally didn't even know that it was out because there was so little fanfare. And as you say, it was just reviews were like, like it is clearly really good. It's just technically there's tons of problems, and it's just shame.
Yeah, I was so pumped seeing the trailers. And I was like, hang on, this feels like old Battlefield. But then, I don't know, Halo came out, I saw the reviews for this, it wasn't exactly setting the world alight. So I didn't jump in, but...
Yeah. Oh, well.
Okay, final story is that Respawn are delisting the original Titanfall on Digital Store starting... Well, it's happened now, it's 1st of December. It's apparently gone. Although the servers are going to remain online for people that are still playing.
Okay.
I mean, they've not given a reason why they've removed this, but then apparently the player base is not very big now. and there was also a number of DDoS attacks that kept happening.
Oh, so
once
it's probably right.
Yeah.
So it's probably a security concern and not really worth paying anyone to fix it at this point, I guess, is the rationale. That's really shit, though. Because when I first saw this, I assumed it was like maybe a licensing thing. Obviously, you know, it's not like there's licensed music in it or anything, but I thought maybe if it was some like middleware or something. But no, that's it. That is a huge shame. I mean, you know, it's one of those where you could argue, well, why would you play the first one when the second one is, you know, broadly speaking, better in most ways, I think. But that's not the point, is it? It's a preservation problem. It's just really shit that they won't be able to buy this anymore.
See, and also, I mean, people have been wanting Titanfall 3 for ages, but nothing's happened with that. And they've said that they've got, there's nothing planned with that at the moment. Although they did, okay, the quote attached to this was, they said, rest assured, Titanfall is core to Respawn's DNA, and this incredible universe will continue. Today in Titanfall 2 and Apex Legends, and in the future, the franchise is the North Star for the caliber of experiences will continue here at Respawn. So, yeah.
All right. I mean,
when I first heard this news, I thought, okay, they're taking it away because they're going to announce a remaster, but that doesn't work because it's multiplayer only. If it had a single player campaign, then I thought, well, possibly, but
that's right. Yeah,
I guess it's just
because the campaign in quote marks was just like it was just a series of multiplayer matches, wasn't it? But with a cutscene at the start.
Yeah, against bots,
which potentially quite a shrewd move. I can see why they thought it was the right thing to do. But then Titanfall 2 has one of the best campaigns of anything ever. So.
Having recently played it, I absolutely 100% agree. Yeah, it's absolutely incredible.
Proper good. But yeah, it's just, as I say, like personally, am I upset about not being able to buy the original Titanfall? No, it's just very shit that these things happen and there's nothing we can do about it. And eventually it's going to come for a game that I really love at some point. So, wanking it.
Yeah, it's going to come for all games, and now starts the part of the community where they'll be bringing it back online, and
that's true.
Finding ways to get around it.
Will the piracy community just take it on board instead and keep it going somehow? I suspect they will. I think it's probably big enough to justify that. But
I'd love to know how many people are still playing online though now.
It's not going anywhere, and they are keeping the servers running.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
But just can't buy it.
Yeah. Right. Is it Fantasy Zone time?
Yeah, I've got a few.
Right. Yeah. I should explain, Sean. Basically, we have a special section of the news. James has found some stuff that's basically almost definitely bullshit. we have to travel to a separate realm where truth is debatable. So we have to strap in. I'll give you a little sick bag just in case. We're going to go to the Fantasy Zone. Right, what have we got, James? What's happening? Where are we?
Okay. Whoa, jeez, wow. Okay, I feel a bit unwell now. I should have chewed some gum because my ears are popped.
You need to get one of them things for your wrist. You know those travel bracelets, so that it puts the little bit of pressure on your wrist and stops you getting travel sick.
Does that work?
I don't think so. I mean, I know people who definitely felt better with one of those when they were, 6 years old, but I don't think there's any science behind it.
Okay. Anyway, the stuff I've got here is it's all just the Game Awards because there are rumours attached. Mm-hmm. I've got a problem. I need to sneeze. And you
need to sneeze? Go for it. On microphone, do it.
No, it's fine because now it's gone away. But just as I was about to say something,
I mean, that's the worst, isn't it? When you're going to sneeze and then you don't.
I know, and it's great. I enjoy sneezing. It's a nice feeling.
But when to have that sort of the mild anxiety of, oh God, I'm about to sneeze, and then to not even get the release afterwards.
And I just thought, I can't just mute it, because if I do that, there'll be an inquisition as to why I muted it again. So I was just like, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to be straight up with it. Anyway, the Game Awards. Here are some rumours. Mm-hmm. The first one is that a Chrono Cross remake is going to be announced. And
really?
Yeah. Apparently this comes from, there was a folk singer who reported working on a track for a mystery remaster of a PlayStation game set to release in holiday period 2021. So apparently people have put 2 and 2 together and they think that it's a Chrono Cross remake.
Why would it be
going to
Chrono
announced.
Cross?
Because she worked on Chrono Cross before, on the original soundtrack.
Okay.
So that's why they're assuming that. I mean, I don't know why you'd go for Chrono Cross and not Chrono Trigger.
I was going to say, because we've had, I mean, there was the 3DS, or was it 3DS or DS version of Chrono Trigger, and that's been it since, and that's the beloved one that everyone remembers.
Yeah.
So surely Chrono Trigger's the one to go with.
No, apparently not.
All right.
Having not played a Chrono game, if and when that gets announced, say it gets announced at the Game Awards next week, or sorry, this week, is that going to be huge, or is it going to be huge for a very small part of the audience?
100% Chrono Trigger's like a big deal, man. Yeah, if that's getting a proper remake, that'll be really cool. Plus, you're a JRPG liker now, Matt. So it's one of the greats for sure.
Oh, okay, interesting. Right.
All right.
Okay. Next one is this is the one that I just don't think can possibly be true. Apparently, Mirrored Edge remaster is going to be shown coming in February 2022.
Okay. I mean, on the one hand, like I say, probably not true, but then also, why not? I suppose. I mean, that game still looks new.
I was going to say that would look absolutely stunning in 4K HDR.
Well, this is it.
Really
yeah,
good
literally,
anyway. It still probably looks good now.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's that easy, but the way that game looks already, turn on the 4K switch. That'd be incredible. I'd be well up for that.
As much as I got through that game, and it wasn't when it originally came out, it was only obviously it was pretty much around the time this show started, I think. But I won't be rushing back to play it. It's interesting because they announced the sequel after people were hankering after that for years, and that came out. It came and went seemingly.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass, isn't it?
Who knows what a remaster could do sales wise? But I don't know. I'm not super confident. I'll be honest. But hey, I'll be interested to see how good it looks, considering how good it looked even back then.
Yeah, man, 100%. I mean, I'd rather they just did a new one, but then we asked for a new one for years, and as you say, it came out, and everyone went, actually, no. No, I gather it's fine. It's just obviously the expectations for it were so high, and I believe the second one put a bit more of an emphasis on the combat, which no one wanted, which was a strange decision to make.
What's happened to Skate?
Yeah, Skate. Well, that's still they're making a new one, aren't they? And they showed us a video of some people skating. And that's it, as far as I'm aware. But I mean, it's going to be years before we see anything concrete from that, isn't it? It was only last year they said they were doing it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think before E3 they put out a video saying, we haven't got any news right now, but we're still working on it. We're developing the team. So hopefully next E3 we'll hear something, but can't see us hearing anything before then. But Sean Labode, have you played Mirror's Edge 1 or 2? Do you reckon this remaster could be a good idea or not?
Honestly, first one, loved it. Second one, heard about it, stayed away. It would have been great to have just a bit more of the first one, so I was kind of weaned away. Obviously, this topic, I can't obviously confirm or deny stuff, but I would imagine, though, there would have been leaks.
Interesting you would say that.
Yeah, but I would imagine, in the day and age that we live in, there would have been leaks by now if it's going to be February, right? Or was it later?
Yeah, that's why I can't believe this is anything, because it just feels weird. This cool. Guys. Next one is apparently. No, there's more, Sean.
Okay,
Sorry.
Okay, go on.
There's only two.
Happy. I'm glad. I'm thrilled. Go on.
There's only two. So apparently, a new Silent Hill will be shown, and then the rumor is that it's being worked on by Kojima Studios.
Well, that's not going to be true, is it?
It might be. I mean,
a number of reasons.
There could be. I mean, Jeff Keighley, he loves Kojima, doesn't he? I mean, there's a good chance he'll be there.
Kojima famously left Konami on very bad terms.
Yeah, but there's a chance that Sony or someone could have got the IP. I mean, that rumor's been going on for ages about people buying the IP or buying Konami IP, and
I guess
it's not outside the realms of possibility for. I mean, I imagine it wouldn't be Koji Pro that would have got it. I mean, maybe Sony have bought the IP and then they're getting Kojima Productions to make it. I don't know, but I don't think it's outside the realms of possibility at all.
But then also recently, like Konami have been going around saying, if you want to develop games using our properties, make pitches to us.
That's
and
true.
Then we'll see.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, I wonder if God, if someone was doing a new Silent Hill, but it was on, the trend for PS1 style horror games. Like someone did essentially like a demake. That would be really interesting.
It could have a polygon Norman Reedus in it as well.
That would be amazing. Sean, I'm really sorry. This must be infuriating because we were like, imagine if Sony was doing this, that, or the other. I appreciate you can't comment.
That's all right. Thank you.
Because the big rumor a while ago was the fact there's going to be Bloober team working on it, weren't they? They were going to work on Silent Hill with Konami.
Yeah.
I think the Kojima thing is just lots of people wanting it.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Obviously it would be a capital M moment if it was announced that yes, there was a new Silent Hill. Yes, Kojima was doing it.
Yeah.
Because obviously that would bring closure to the whole PT thing, and that would be really interesting. But I can't see it being true. Yeah.
In terms of like games that have been desired for a long time, and then we've had where everyone was after a new Half-Life, obviously, and Half-Life Alyx got announced and came out, and other games have come out after people have wanted it for a long time. I think a new Silent Hill is definitely up the top now of
definitely.
games that have been rumoured for ages that people will go, absolutely bonkers for if it got announced. I think that must be one of the top ones now.
But then equally, like as a developer, who wants that sort of pressure? Do you know what I mean? Like
Some people thrive on that pressure, though.
I guess, yeah.
Especially
and
if
obviously,
they get the brightest minds to work on it, and they feel like they've got great ideas to hark back to what made the game so good previously, but also modernise it.
I guess I can't imagine what it's like having to contend with like a fan base that, as you say, have been waiting for a new entry in a series for so long that like the scrutiny would just be, I don't know, I would find that impossible to deal with, I think. But then, I don't know, yeah, as you say, some people thrive on it, some people would just like fully just be like, oh my god, this is such an honour to be able to do this and respond well to that. But I don't think I would, frankly.
James, are these rumours about a brand new Silent Hill, like a remake, sorry?
It's new Silent Hill. I don't think it's a remake of the original or anything.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Because I always feel like how these things should go is that they announce a remake or remaster of one that's been desired for ages, see how people like that or take to that, and then if there's a real like hankering and desire from people, then they take that and say, okay, look, it's clearly an audience for this, let's go make a brand new one.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it feels like, the safer option, but it's not like we're getting a rumour of a remake or HD version of a previous game.
Yeah.
Last one is apparently there'll be a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake is going to be shown that's being remade by Virtuous.
Okay. I mean, it's plausible. It's probably... Is it the favourite overall? I think it probably is, right?
Yeah.
This is the one, though, that I'm least interested in them re-releasing, because it's 4 is the one I'd like re-released, because that's the only one you can't play like on anything, like apart from a PS3.
Of course, yeah. The others have all, you could probably, I think you could play them on a modern Xbox, right? If you wanted to. I think it's all been ported and stuff, so yeah. Whereas, Metal Gear Solid 4 is the only one that hasn't jumped from its original platform, isn't it?
Yeah, the only way you could play it now, unless you've got the original game and a PS3, is on PlayStation Now. That's the only other way.
Mm.
So,
fair point.
Snakey is the only one I haven't really played. I think I played like a couple of hours, and it's only like in the last few years I tried that and then just stopped for whatever reason. But so I would love them to do something, so it gives me an excuse to go and play it. And that feels like the one that the fans love the most. So it makes sense. But at this point, these rumours, you just say, oh, there's good rumoured to be a remake of Crazy Taxi. You can say remake of anything. And I can see that. I could see that. So it'd be very interesting to see what these kind of announcements are at the Game Awards. Hopefully something of the same kind of stature would be nice.
Yeah. I mean, it always, because it's on at 1 a.m. here, I sort of selfishly hope there isn't anything too exciting, because I'm just going to like see it all in a news post in the morning when I wake up. I'm not going to be able to actually sit and watch it. But yeah, we'll see, I guess.
I mean, instead of that, we could just ask Sean now.
Yeah.
That's true. We'll bleep it out. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we will definitely bleep it.
Right. Is that it for the news and the
That's all I've got, yeah.
probably untrue news? Cool.
It's all it for the news and the bullshit. It's all done.
Right. What have we been playing? Sean, do you want to go first?
Me again? Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry. I'll get you. I'll nail this at some point. So I've been playing Fights in Tight Spaces. Has anyone heard of this game?
Yes,
Firstly?
Definitely heard
I
of it,
played it when it first went into early access, but it's now officially out, isn't it?
It came out on Thursday, I believe, this week,
cool.
so early December. And yes, there was a demo. There was like a prologue that came out in February early this year. So yeah, Fights in Tight Spaces. It's from I think it's Ground Shatter as a developer, published by Mode 7. The best way to describe it for anyone that doesn't know is it's kind of like Slay the Spire with some elements from Into the Breach, which is one of my favorite turn-based games, with the kind of super hot visuals. And I everything about this game absolutely love, because it's card-based, which is mostly like roguelike. So you're getting these cards which are either moves or attacks, and you're getting them kind of at random, and you get to level them up. So again, one of my big loves is Metal Gear Acid 1 and 2. Like, I know that divides the room sometimes, but that nailed like good kind of turn-based in a genre that kind of didn't really need it, and it kind of did amazing. But in Fights in Tight Spaces, you play an agent, and you are given a path of a gang that you need to take down. So I think there's like 4 gangs to take down, and each path is like 10 missions or so. And you have 1 health bar for the entirety of it, so it might be like 40 altogether, and every time you get hit, that kind of health remains for the entirety of it, unless you kind of heal yourself or go to like the hospital or spend some money to kind of upgrade your health and stuff. And it does really well. The thing I love about it is just the fact that if you enjoy turn-based games, you know that the enemy will predict, kind of show a move that they're about to do, so you can actually kind of predict it and push enemies in front of enemies to get them to kind of hit each other. And a lot of it is you can kind of play these rounds like in 5 minutes. So if this was something you can play on a commute like Into the Breach, you could just be on a train or a bus and we kind of get a few games in. So it's very conscious and helpful for players who don't have a lot of time on their hands, especially with long bursts. And it's really satisfying. It's visceral, and there's kind of fist pump moments when you're just like, yep, I've been able to take down a boss and kick them out of the arena, which would have taken maybe 10 turns, and you can just do it in 5. And it's a smart person's game as well as it's just beautiful. And again, going back to the super hot kind of visuals thing, when you do finish a round, or if you might lose a round, there is an option to do a replay at the end, and it will show everything kind of like in real time. So it will show you from different really cool dynamic angles of every moment and every step and every action you do. It's tough. I put it out there. It's tough. It's perfect for the brand of stuff I stream, but it's so rewarding, and it's real cheap. It's on Xbox, I believe, as well as on Steam, and I have no qualms with this game. Definitely thumbs up, and it is again on my game of the year list. It came in really late, but I'm glad it came out just in time for it. So highly recommended.
Cool. So you mentioned, so as I say, it's been a long time since I played it, and it was pretty, like it was good fun, but it was pretty bare bones when I first played it. So there's, in terms of, it's like you get additional cards, don't you, as you go, like any sort of roguelike deck builder.
Yeah.
So one thing I sort of felt was missing is I didn't really feel like I was, like normally you like when you're building a deck, you're looking for like synergies or things that will work well together, or sort of developing like a certain style or a strategy. That wasn't really there initially. Is that more of a thing now, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, you'll notice a lot of, if you've only played the prologue, you'll notice some mechanics and some cards that just weren't there before that feel like it balances the game a lot more. Like the prologue was pretty tough.
Yeah.
One of my favorite cards in there is a card called Taunt, and you can just use it to trigger one of the enemies. It doesn't have to be close to you to use their attack. So you can have an enemy who has a shotgun and he's facing another enemy, and you don't have to even cross the line to kind of trigger him to shoot. You just can just trigger that, and you're just like, yep, that's fantastic. It looks great in combat. But in regards to like synergies and stuff, there are some cards like if you want to stun someone and have another card that will do 20 damage to stunned enemies.
Right. Yeah.
You want to make sure that those are in your deck. And the beauty of the game is, yeah, you're getting new cards, you're getting upgrade cards, but the more you build up your deck, like if you've played Magic the Gathering and stuff, the more you have to kind of shuffle through it. So you might have 50, I'm not sure what the cap is, but if you have like a really good set of cards and you like 10 good cards out of 40, and you're not going to get to see the remaining cards, you can pay to remove cards as well.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful, but it really works well if you kind of know what you want from it, and you kind of see the synergies in your cards that you want in the future. Because you just want, like, there's been times I've skipped getting 3 cards after every round because I'm like, this is good, but it kind of doesn't fit the kind of deck that I'm trying to build.
Yeah, and it just starts to dilute it, doesn't it? If you're not careful.
It does. Yeah. Definitely. And thumbs up to the team. Like when the upgrade cards that they have just really changed the game. So you can do these cards such as throwing people down to the ground, and it might cost a turn or a bit of a momentum, but the upgrade to stuff like that would just remove the cost. So you only get to use like 3 cards per turn, but some cards you can reduce the cost of it, so you can do some of these cards for free, so you can end up doing 4 or 5 moves, and that's kind of the incentive to upgrading cards rather than always trying to buy new cards. So it's really well balanced, and I'm only maybe like 4 hours, 5 hours in. There's still a lot of content in there and daily challenges, so
cool.
It's excellent.
Yeah, wicked. No, I'll say, because I've got it on Steam, but I haven't touched it for a long time. So no, I'll definitely have another look. That sounds wicked.
Cool.
How beginner friendly do you think this is? The only card game I've actually played is Inscription, and obviously that was only recently.
Yeah.
As someone who hasn't really played this kind of games before, do you feel like it ramps it up easy enough for someone who
do you
isn't
know what?
totally au fait with all the ways to play these kinds of games?
There is a lot of tutorial. So you have how to play the game initially, then every time there's a new card or a new type of move, or especially a new enemy, it will kind of show you like some help screen and shows you how to play it. But it really ramped up within the first half an hour. Like if you've played the prologue, you kind of get it. It's a short game anyway, but there was some really, it feels like there's some really kind of end game mechanics coming into it within the first hour. So I don't know if it's very user friendly for people who haven't played a genre like that before. It will teach you how to do it. So, as long as you can kind of pick that up, that's fantastic. But it really ramps up the difficulty, because I guess if this game was any easier, it won't be the game that I love at the moment. It's really rewarding. So again, like the From Software thing, if it was easier, it wouldn't feel like you're benefiting from playing the game. So it just requires you to just, learn, adapt. If you die, you can reset just the level itself rather than having to start from the very beginning of that path again, which is good. I'm not sure if the prologue did that, but
no,
it's tough, but highly rewarding.
Cool.
I wish it was out on Switch. This looks like it'd be perfect for Switch.
Definitely.
That's a good point, because it's not, visually, like I say, it's got this very cool style about it, but there's nothing about it that screams would not run on Switch. Do you know what I mean? So it's definitely doable, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Cool.
Looks cool. James, you obviously love card-based roguelikes, so
huge fan. Yeah, I haven't picked this up yet, but yeah, it's not on my list.
James, this one's all about punching people and throwing them into things.
I did watch the trailer, and it did actually look quite good.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm not going to play it.
Cool.
But unfortunately, cards. Sean, James hates card games. If it's,
he's allergic to them for some reason.
Roguelike, it's game over for James.
James,
really?
the massive Star Trek guy, thinks that like cards and fantasy stuff's a bit nerdy, so...
It's not entirely fair. I'm just not a fan of deck building. It's just something I don't.
But you've never done
enjoy
it, James. You've never.
I have.
When? What have you played?
I'm sure I've done it in something before,
Have
and I
you?
didn't
Right.
enjoy it.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, well that's right. That sounds
And
concrete.
it
then,
ruined
doesn't
Back for Blood. Like Back for Blood is not a
That's
good game.
not a deck builder.
It is a deck builder. There's deck building going on in that game.
They're
and
just
it ruined it for me.
abilities that you equip, aren't they?
Yeah, but you have to like swap things out and try and get like the right combinations and all that kind of stuff. You know.
Okay, fine.
Stop trying to shame me. It's like, just not a
It
fan,
just had to be brought up. It had to. I mean, how can we not bring it up when there's a card-based roguelike on the show? You think we're going to You think we're not going to mention that?
Yeah, I was anticipating it, but never mind. But yeah, I'm sure it's very good. It's just not my thing. Sorry.
Okay.
Absolutely fine.
James, what have you been playing this week?
Well, I've been playing Guardians of the Galaxy still, because I'm quite close to the end now, I think, of the whole thing. Because, I mean, I've been playing it. It's the... You know, like a couple of weeks ago, I said that I was kind of feeling off with games and not really feeling anything, really. This has dragged me right back in again, because...
The palate cleanser.
Yeah, it's so good. It's really so good, and it's mostly because I just love the voice actors like so much. Like particularly Peter Quill. Like he's the guy who he is so good, and the writing is like very like just great like throughout. The only thing that I'm not enjoying about it so much is that the combat is a bit repetitive because it lacks depth. Like each of the characters that you've got, they level up over time, and you can like add new abilities to them. But it's really just like unlocking them. You unlock like variations on what they can already do, and the variations don't really make much difference, honestly. Like to the way that the game plays. Yeah. And you can also upgrade your character and make him stronger and all that kind of stuff. But each enemy encounter plays out pretty much exactly the same. It's just like, okay, select the person you want to attack, and then just send everybody like doing their special moves and stuff, and you do the same and fly around and like shoot at it, and it's fine. It's okay. But then when you're doing it like over and over and over again, it does start to get a bit kind of like Final Fantasy random battle kind of thing. Where you're just like, I just want to get through this area now. I don't want to keep getting slowed down by these things, and it does feel like it's sort of artificially extending like the game slightly. But then saying that, as I said, the story side of things has been fantastic, and I mean, I really begin to care about these characters. And there's also been parts of this game that have made me laugh, and I haven't laughed that much this year, like from through games. And this has been, it's very funny. I mean, I would love to be able to tell you what the jokes are, but I can't because it will ruin it. And there was one, seriously, I was sitting there and I just started laughing out loud because it was the delivery was absolutely perfect, and it was just it was so well done.
I was going to talk about. So I've played a bit of this week. I mentioned last week that I bought it. On the strength of what you were saying on the last episode, I've only done like the first mission, and then the sort of the in between bit, and I'm now on the second planet basically. But yeah, everything you've just said, it's the performances are absolutely outstanding in it.
Especially Drax. Like Drax is so good.
Drax is amazing.
It's the usual
brilliant.
deadpan delivery, but it's just done so well. Yeah. Like it's so good.
The one, I am going to spoil this because it's literally in like the first half hour, and you might not even see it, which is what's so cool about it. It's the fact that it's reactive. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yes, it's they've written a very funny script, but it's reactive, and it reacts to things that they know players of video games are likely to do. So like there's this one section that like you're on, walking down this path, and it forks off in two different directions, and Rocket's like, oh, this way is a dead end, we need to go this way instead. And obviously you've played video games before, you're like, well, no, I'm going to go down the way it's just told me not to go, because what if there's a secret? There might be some crafting resources or whatever. And you follow this route that you've just been told is a dead end, and you get to the end of it, and like you can see Rocket like across this sort of gap, and he's just like, "Oh, are you happy now?" Like,
there's tons of stuff like that in it. Like it feels very self-aware as well, which is the other thing that's like wonderful about it, and just the way that the relationships develop as well. Like just especially between Rocket and Quill is very good. Like it's just. He's just like, come on, like all the time, and it's very funny. I love it. It's very good,
and it really puts across like when we were talking about it with Dave last week, and he's like, oh yeah, this is the one where they're all cracking wise, and it's the funny, goofy one. It's like, it is, but that is also underpinned by the fact that basically everyone in the team like has like some like genuine major trauma of some sort or another, and actually important and comes through as time goes on. And
and it's a lot of that is totally addressed in the game as well.
Yeah.
And the way it's done is really, really good. Like it's really touching as well in places. And that's what's been so good about it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. You're going to stick with it, aren't you, Sean? Please 100%. Tell me you're going to play more.
Yeah, really enjoying it. I mean, as you say, like the combat is fine. I think it really helps when you get the active reload ability, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but there's a nice rhythm to it, isn't there? The way it, when you do nail it, like you get like a little, there's like a slightly more powerful attack, and so you're not like, because at first you are just like, well, I'm just holding the lock-on trigger and just holding the fire button and running around. And then once you get that active reload and you start having to play around with the abilities more, it starts getting interesting.
I'll tell you one thing though, like one of the best upgrades to get at the beginning is the one where you can track where resources are.
Really?
Because then you can pick up stuff for crafting and it makes that a lot easier. But then also, don't worry about missing stuff because there's way more than you need to fully upgrade all your character. Because I've finished upgrading my character and I'm still picking up stuff. I've got just tons of it now, and this is another reason why I'm a bit disappointed, because you can upgrade and change up Peter Quill, but you can't do that with the other characters. Like you can only, and that's a bit of a shame because I wish you could customize them as well, because that would have maybe made things a bit more interesting. But still great, and I mean, I'd be playing it right now if I could, but I can't.
You've got to do this shit.
I wish this game was marketed a bit better, because everything from announcement onwards just put me off, and I'm now the one guy who hasn't played this game, and I just keep hearing about how great it is. I was like, this isn't how we saw this. It looked like it was just really just more of something that we've got bored of before, and just hearing these awesome stories, like you've sold me on that, especially on just the characters and just the development and stuff that you would never get in the trailers. So this is all good. So I'm gonna go and buy this game.
You should, man. I mean,
absolutely should.
Pretty sure it's still on sale everywhere, which, thanks to everyone not buying it, I guess. But yeah, as you say, it's like there's been a few people really sort of championing it, combined with it going on sale, and it's like suddenly it's getting this weird sort of second wave. It's nice.
But it was really badly damaged, I think. The trailer wasn't great, as you said. The trailer was. I saw that trailer and I just thought, I don't want to play this. It looks like an off-brand version of this that doesn't look great. And then also we had Avengers before, which hasn't done amazingly well. And from what I played of it, I thought it wasn't bad. It was okay, but this is really like a massive leap beyond that. Like it's so much better. It's cool. It just reminds me a lot of Uncharted, actually. Like today when I was playing it, I was
thinking that. I mean, I've never been like a huge Uncharted guy. Like I played and really enjoyed 2, and then just never got around to the others. And it's just like you were saying last week. It's like there's nothing. There's not an original idea in it, but and yet it's like it's just executed. It's seamless, so well. And it's just perfectly polished and presented, and it's just it's just a good time.
I've heard that there's some bug problems with it as well, but I've not experienced any of those, so maybe it's been patched.
I think the only, like on a technical level, like I've had just some like slightly weird animations, like climbing up ledges and stuff. Like very obviously, like it just doesn't look particularly smooth. If I'm like climbing up a ledge and I'm just sort of magically snapping to it, like stuff like that looks a bit unnatural. But I mean, technically, that's about the only thing I could complain about. Other than that, it's been spot on. Anything else, or is it just that?
Dark Souls 2, obviously, I'm still playing that, which I'm still loving. I still think it's fantastic. I know, as I said before, it's not supposed to be the best one in the series, but it's still very fun to go through. I mean, I did 3 bosses on Friday, and I'm still very proud of that, because it was, they weren't actually terribly difficult, but they were irritating. Especially, at the end of last week where I got really angry.
Yes.
And
did you end up doing that one?
I did, yeah. Okay. I did it on the second attempt.
That boss down, and you made it look easy, actually. That time you did it.
Yeah, I think it's because I'd calmed down by that point, and so it was okay. Because like with those games, you start to just feel like I just can't do this. This is just taking the piss now, this game. And but yeah, I mean that's where I got to I got to another boss actually at the end of the last stream, and I was just like, I have to stop now because this is making me hate this again. And yeah,
so did no one, because Cammy texted me about this when the last episode went up, and he was like, "Has no one told James that boss is optional?"
No, nobody said that at the time. But then I did find out later that it was, and also I also found out there's a way to make it easier as well that nobody told me. Yeah, which
what's
was
that?
because the skeletons attack you.
Yeah.
If you take with you a certain like amulet or like you have something with you, they ignore you and leave you alone, and it makes it a lot easier. Yeah, but I didn't know that.
Well, thanks to our lovely community on Twitch for giving James all the intel he needs and letting him lose his mind at a boss he didn't even have to fight. That's really, really good.
They have generally been great. Like generally, they've been very good. It's there's a couple of people that maybe are not so helpful, but yeah, in general, they've been great. They've been very, very good.
Good.
And I appreciate them. Yeah.
Matt, what have you got?
Yeah, so played more Halo Infinite. I made a point after we finished recording of actually finishing the weekly kind of Game Pass. It's not Game Pass, the Battle Pass quests.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why, really, because the thing you got at the end wasn't really even that good. It was a bloody shader for the whole armor set. But I just wanted to do it, and I've read a lot of people saying, I did all the weeklies in like 2 minutes, but it took me longer. But no, I did that, and honestly, I haven't really played it since. Just because I've been trying to do other things, I'm really busy. So I have been off it like the last few days, which doesn't feel right considering how much I was hammering it beforehand. But the campaign is out this week, so yeah, I might have another night or two on it, and then it's on to campaign. But and also since we last recorded, they've made loads of changes in terms of the battle pass now. Rather than a flat 50 XP you get, they've done it so the first like 5 or 6 games of the day you earn as much as like 300 XP and then 200 XP, and after like 5 or 6 games, then it goes down to 50. So you can earn way more now in your first few games each day. And if you combine that with like a 2 times XP kind of boost thing, then you can fly through the levels. So they are making changes, which is good.
Cool.
And I said today, I think that they're going to bring in a new playlists probably after Christmas at this point. So things are still happening, things are still changing, which is cool. But because I wasn't playing that, I wanted to play some other games, and I played through. I'd already finished it, but I 100% did Death's Door, which I really wanted to do. So I finished it obviously a fair few months ago, and knew I wanted to go back to it because how much I loved it. I just didn't for one reason or another. But it's one of the things on my list to get done before Game of the Year, and I'm super glad I went back to it. There's so many games each year where I loved them at a time. Maybe I played them in January or March or April, whatever, and I say, I'm going to go back to that. I need to go back to that before the end of the year to kind of remember why I loved it so much. So when it comes to any kind of discussions potentially at Game of the Year, I'm there and I understand and I can kind of remember how much or why I love that game. And I'm so glad I've done that because it's brought all those memories back. I mean, I still absolutely love the combat. I love how it looks. The music is obviously still absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, it's really good to go and 100% it. So once you finish it, there are other things to do to get what people are calling the real ending, a different ending basically. And yeah, so there's a bunch of tasks. And when I finished it originally, I thought, wow, I can already get a sense that these things are going to take me like many hours. Actually, it only took me like 4 or 5 hours, and probably if I was a lot better, it'd probably take me like 2 hours. But so there isn't loads of content, but there's enough to like get you traveling all over the map to do that. And you can, so there's a bunch of things you can do to see the real ending. And I thought in my mind that would also be 100%ing it, but no, you can get the real ending without 100%ing it.
Yep.
And then when I got that, I was only like 3.5% away from 100% in the lot. So then I just went around and got all the upgrades for the weapons I hadn't got previously. Actually, I think that might be the only thing I need to get afterwards, actually. But I've done it. I've 100%ed it.
Cool.
What an absolute stun of a game.
See,
Have you 100%ed it, Sean?
I haven't 100%ed it. No, I was going to say, so I got the second proper ending. But I really like that it makes that distinction, because it's like, yeah, do you know what? Here's like, here's the full story that you get for doing some like cool end game stuff. But then, yeah, like if you then want to go on to 100% it, that's like entirely up to you. You're not necessarily missing anything. Like you are just doing it for the sake of 100%ing it. Which, generally speaking, people who want to 100% things, that is why they do it. Like you don't need to lock like a bit of story or a cutscene behind it.
Yeah, no, I thought that was really good.
Yeah,
I really like that. I really appreciate that as well.
Very good game.
You can't have much left to go either, I assume, to get the 100%.
Do you know? I'm not sure. I think I definitely remember making the decision not to bother after getting the second ending, because I was just like, again, sort of just appreciated being given that choice, you know. And at that point, I felt like I'd experienced enough of it. So I don't think I'm ever going to, but yeah, fucking love that game, man.
Yeah. Oh, how about you, James?
I didn't even get the second ending. I was very happy to just finish with where I finished. I just thought, I've enjoyed this. It's good, but I have no desire to go back and get 100% on it at all. I thought it was good, but I mean, maybe I'll go back and do the second, because the second ending, it's not like ridiculously difficult, is it? Like,
no,
to get
not
to
at all.
that.
It's only like another few hours, really, of content. Like certainly in terms of difficulty as well. Like if you've done the final boss, then you've done the hardest thing in the game.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, well worth it, man.
I might do that, yeah, but I'm not going to try and 100% it because, I just don't feel the need to do that.
Sean, have you played this?
I in fact I started it on a stream last week.
Oh, cool.
Absolutely loved it. I think we had David in chat actually. He was telling me he was watching it whilst he was on his commute home, which was quite adorable. But I do have one question, because I've only played it for about 2 hours and loved it, and I've got as far as when you start to meet the guy who has the kind of the soup as a head, you're kind of helping him with that stuff. But the question I've got, because it seems like unlocking abilities, it's you're in it for the long haul. It's not going to be a thing that you're going to get loads of it right at the start. What would you say is the good go-to thing to unlock just to make the game not easier but more beneficial? Because I started to put points towards the magic arrows or the damage that the arrows do. But is there anything that you would recommend, just a personal preference?
I went straight for attack damage and attack speed. I don't know about the others. I mean, I felt that helped, but I mean, there wasn't any big sort of like, oh wow, this is like helped massively moment. It was all sort of very incremental, really, I thought.
I think I went for power at that point, because I feel like I could defend myself by rolling away and doing the other stuff, so I just wanted to be able to kill enemies quicker. And in fact, so you get all you upgrade your abilities, but you can also upgrade them as well. But I didn't do that until I'd already finished the game, and in fact those are the last things I had to do to 100%.
The magic spells, later on there's ways to get like an upgraded version of each, isn't there? Which is super useful.
So I didn't bother doing that, and I'm sure, and like it's just funny that I'd already like finished the game and already done everything I could to really to get the second ending, and it's only then was I getting the cool extra stuff, but with no real enemies to use them on.
Yeah,
that's kind of pointless the way I did it. But I did it just to.
Yeah, that's probably my only complaint about the game, is that as you say, you just sort of get not necessarily funneled towards the final boss, but you very much like get to the final boss without necessarily realizing there's like all this extra end game stuff. And then, as you say, you sort of going around unlocking more upgrades and stuff, and it's like, well, I don't really need them at this point, but okay. But yeah, no, I mean, I hope you enjoy it, Sean, because it's easily one of my top 10 of the year for sure.
Absolutely for me. No doubt about it.
Yeah,
excellent.
I mean, I love the story. I thought it was really told really, really well. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. Like the painterly style, and like the environments just look and feel really solid. Combat's excellent, and the music's absolutely gorgeous.
The soundtrack is phenomenal.
It's so bloody good.
And a game with a small little bird, just like a short hike. They're doing big things this year.
Absolutely,
I love I've got a thing for like reluctant heroes in games, and the bird from Death's Door is 100% one of them. Like, he didn't ask to be put in the situation, and he's like, I guess I'll just have to be the hardest little bird that's ever existed. Then and he just cracks on with it, and like with almost not no emotion, but he's just this weird little. I don't know. He reminds me of like the main character from Hollow Knight. And it's just like this little guy who's had no choice but to be tough as fuck and just like put up with a load of shit. I love him.
Nice. The only other thing I played that we all played was Rainbow Six Vegas.
Yes, that was weird.
The Xbox 360 shooter.
Yeah, so we all I can't remember what day it was. It was Wednesday, wasn't it? Wednesday night.
It was.
We streamed some Rainbow Six Vegas with Ian Lee. And how did this come about? Because I completely missed this. It was just the first thing I knew was when you were all talking about it in the WhatsApp group. So I assume this is something like had Ian suggested this because he played it back in the day and so did Dave, but not together. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that was the case. Yeah.
I know Ian loved it, and we've been talking about playing, or doing something streaming together. So this felt like a good first one to kick it off with, and it was a rousing success. I thought.
Yeah,
considering the game is 15 years old, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And it's still very, very playable though. Like in the sense of it's not like anything now. Like nothing would release like this now because of just how slow it is, and how sort of aiming is difficult, and but it still has its own charm and its own. There's a real element of skill like still to the game, so it's still very fun. I mean, I went back and played it on Friday night with my crew, as it were. And we played it until Matt, I went to bed at like 2:30 last night, like 3:00.
Oh my god, that's not like you at all.
Yeah, because we played it like for ages, and it was brilliant. I mean, we were only playing Terrorist Hunt, but it's still excellent.
Well, wasn't you lot against bots, or were you playing on different teams?
It's just Terrorist Hunt because you can't. Because they were like, "Oh, can we play it?" And I was like, "Yeah," because they'd watched the stream, and Xerius had been on the stream, and he'd really enjoyed it.
He was, yep.
And so I said, "Yeah, we can play it," but you realise there's no way we're going to be able to play this against real people because no one is playing this game anymore. So the only option really is Terrorist Hunt, which is still good. It's still very fun.
So how does that work? Because I know nothing about this.
It's basically you go through the maps, like each of the maps in the game. You load it up, and there is 50 terrorists like in the level, and then you just have to just eliminate them all. And then but you can change it so they become like more aggressive or like less aggressive, and then once you get them down to there being about sort of 8 or 9 left, they just rush you from like wherever, and it gets quite tense. It's and because the thing is, how the game is, it's like it's instant death. Like you can die very quickly, for nothing, and so you can even start off the round and then you just get eliminated and you're sitting there for like 25 minutes waiting for it to finish while everyone else is still trying to clean everything up.
Great.
It's still great though.
It was interesting. So I was aware that it had like quite a heyday back in the sort of early Xbox Live Xbox 360 days. I never played it. I played a bit of the sequel, didn't really get on with it, but then broadly speaking, I gather the community didn't really take to the sequel. So the first was still sort of held in quite high regard. And it was interesting, like obviously playing it now, like initially, it's very easy to be like, these controls are horrible. And obviously 5-10 minutes in, you're like, well, this is it is very stiff and it's very slow, but it's clearly deliberate. Like it's not an accident. Like, because you could put that down to its age, but then like people are saying, when we're streaming, it's like, well, this was only like 1 year before Modern Warfare and a bunch of like Unreal Tournament existed and a bunch of other stuff that was really fast paced and slick and stuff. So
no, it was absolutely deliberate because the other ones that had come out on Xbox prior and also on PC, like there was Rainbow Six 3 was the one that we played on original Xbox, and Black Arrow, which was the one that we played a lot of on the original Xbox. That was the same. Like it was very kind of slow paced, but there is a lot of tactical play to it, which made it like really fun.
I remember when. Go on, sorry.
I remember when Black Arrow came out, and this is when I was still like a student at university, and I remember buying it and then coming home and just playing it until the morning. Like we just played it all night, and it was to the point where when I went to bed, I could still hear people's voices in my head of things, which was which was horrible. It was, but it was such a good game. It was like so fun. Yeah.
No, because I remember playing like the very first Rainbow Six and just being like, every time you like move or shoot, your accuracy just goes rubbish. I hate this. I mean, I was like,
and you have to fire in like burst mode as well. Like you can't just hold down the trigger because it's useless. It just goes all over the place.
Yeah. So there's that initial hurdle with the controls and the way it feels and stuff. But I mean, like once you get past that, and as we say, it's they've done it on purpose. It's not an accident. Like it's still perfectly serviceable. I was saying on the stream that the one thing that was bothering me was like the lack of feedback when shooting at people. Like, I was just like emptying in entire clips and just being like, I don't actually know if they're dead, because the only real indication you get is, you know, this sort of messages coming up in the bottom left hand of the screen. But then they could be about anyone, you know, like you sort of not, because you're looking like focusing on the center, you're not really reading those messages, and it's like, so yeah, so that was odd. And I think like it's easy now to forget that, like, you know, there was a time where there wasn't like a specific noise when you like hit someone with a bullet. You know, like pretty much every shooter now, there's like a telltale noise of some sort. And as soon as you take that away, it's like, well, am I hitting them? I don't know. I'm just shooting in their general direction and crossing my fingers. So that was the one thing that's like, no, I would change this if this was getting remade or whatever. But yeah, no.
Yeah, it's amazing how the language of shooters has changed in recent years. Now things we're used to just wasn't. Yeah, it obviously wasn't there 15 years ago.
Yeah, and just like completely sort of wrong foots you because you're used to having that little sort of signifier. I mean, I will say, like, as much as I enjoyed it, like, and you know, like we were saying afterwards, like, oh man, like, you know, we should be doing more streams. There's probably like a million other games I'd rather play with you guys than more Rainbow Six Vegas.
Well, yeah, obviously, yeah.
So I'm not jonesing to go back to that. But yeah, it'd be cool to do more stuff like that in future.
Did they still have the feature where you can upload your face into your operator?
We talked about this, didn't we?
No, but you see, you can't do that obviously now, because that only worked with the Xbox Vision camera, I think it was. Like, and that doesn't work with anything, I don't think, anymore. Okay. But if you uploaded your face previously, it's still there.
No way.
Back because who I was playing with the other night, like, she was like saying, it's my face from like years ago.
Oh my god!
No way!
Terrifying
really?
time capsule. I mean, there's some sort of GDPR issue there. But then it's really weird because, like, I know like a bunch of games did that. I'll say a bunch, not that many, I suppose, but they all had different solutions, didn't they? Because I remember one of the Tony Hawk games did it, but that was like you did it via the website. It wasn't. Like, it was on, I think it was PS2 when I was playing, but yeah, you had to like upload your pictures to the website, and then that sort of linked with your account, and it sort of worked that way.
FIFA did it as well.
Is that okay? Is that right?
It didn't work, did it?
No, Perfect Dark on the N64 did that with the Game Boy camera, but I think they discontinued. Well, they stopped it because there was just like a lot of worry about people going around shooting people in real life because it looked like their face.
Right. Yeah.
But it was using the Game Boy camera.
They were gonna do it, but then I think Nintendo were like, no, don't. Because this is like, you know, this is on our family-friendly platform.
Yeah, and on paper it's a valid concern. Like, on paper it's a valid concern, but obviously, in 2021 it now seems quite quaint that they were worried about that with the sort of accuracy you'd get with a Game Boy camera. Cool. I've only got a couple of quick ones. Obviously, like we talked about Guardians of the Galaxy. Played a bit of Echo VR. Which, you know, it's so this was, you know, played it on the Quest 2. This is one of those that I think has been around for a while, and it's a free to play thing. And I guess I'd unfairly ignored it on that basis. Like, I always, like, in terms of free to play stuff, like in VR, I always think, this is going to be like a free to play mobile game, right? And it's going to annoy me, and it's going to, like, you know, nickel and dime me for microtransactions and stuff. But I'd seen this cropping up on a number of, like, you know, because, like, so I've got two friends who've just got a Quest 2. And yeah, if you go on any, like, have you just got a Quest 2? Here are some cool free things you should try out. And Echo VR is consistently on those lists. So we're like, yeah, do you know what? Let's play it. Let's see what it's like. And it's like a 4v4, like, I guess, future space sports game, where you're all like floating around in zero gravity, and there is a disc which you can grab and you can throw it, and there's a goal at either end. But then there's, like, you know, tons of obstacles everywhere, and there's like a little sort of 3-point zone and stuff. And you sort of, you know, you fly around, you've got little rockets on your wrists, so you can sort of propel yourself around with those, but you can also, like, grab the environment, right, and sort of spin yourself around and push off it, or what have you, or steady yourself with it, which, again, you know, like, all these obstacles being all over the place is a problem when you're shooting, but in terms of like navigating the environment, actually quite useful sometimes, because the boosters work just fine, but they're a bit slow. Like if you're changing direction, like it might make sense to sort of boost over to like an obstacle just to push off it again and, change direction that way. And we had a really fucking good time on it. It was great. Like in terms of, as I say, anxieties around the free-to-play stuff, it's absolutely fine. You don't miss anything by not paying any money, but there's like a battle pass which helps you unlock cosmetics and stuff. That's it, as far as I could tell. But yeah, it was great. Like we did, we had like there's a bunch of tutorials to get through, and then we did like a match against bots, which we absolutely trashed them, which we kind of expected, and felt really good regardless. Like it's really enjoyable. And they were like, right, let's play against real people and get absolutely hammered, which we did, but there was enough like cool moments in it and just bits where it sort of made sense. Like one of us, boosting towards the goal, and like someone calls out that like someone on the other team is behind you and is like gaining on you. So then like, doing a quick pass to them and then they score with it, or like, just like really cool, like last minute saves where the disc is about to hit your goal and you just like boost in and just fucking grab it and just chuck it to the other end of the arena. It's proper good. Really enjoyed it.
I've never played this game, but I've watched a fair bit because VR Master League is like an esports VR organization.
Oh yeah.
And they do Echo VR leagues. So and we worked them on Zombieland. So cool. It looks like it's got a really vibrant community of like proper teams playing in like an esports capacity.
That was from this one session we've had. I came away thinking like I could probably watch this. Like it'd be really interesting to just watch people who are really good at it. Because obviously playing against people who are really good, like you're not like you're too worried about what you're doing to really appreciate like any of the the skill. You're just like, oh, they scored again, I wonder how they did it. So yeah, actually just sitting and watching some games would be really cool. So yeah, really enjoyed that. And it's quite nice. Like obviously it's not the same as actual sport or exercise, but it was really nice to have an evening playing online games with my friends and be fucking knackered afterwards. Like, it was cool. The only other thing, and I've only played a tiny bit of, but it's more just interesting in terms of how I came across it. I've been playing Wonderputt forever.
Is this the Netflix game?
Yes. Which I didn't... when we talked previously about the Netflix stuff, it was like... did we mention this? Or was this not in the list that we talked about the other week?
This was not in the list, no. But I noticed it is... Yeah, it's one of the Netflix ones, isn't it?
Yeah, so I don't know if any of you played the original Wonderputt. It's like this... it was like one of the sort of early sort of darlings of like the Flash scene, I guess. In that it was this web-based like mini golf game, but it was all sort of really abstract and like you sort of knocking this golf ball around all these like weird environments. It was all on screen at one time, but then like different sections of it would sort of open up and change, and you'd have all these sort of interesting little interactions with them and stuff. It's like it is brilliant. I think you can still get the original. Like, so you can definitely get it on the iPad because like I've put it on Isaac's iPad and he plays it quite a bit sometimes, and it's like again like really holds up even though it's like 10, 15 years old, something like that. And I'd wondered like, oh, what did the devs go on to do? Because this was brilliant, and yeah, basically found some like vague stuff about the fact they were supposed to be doing a sequel. And then like thought nothing more of it. Cut to us hearing about Netflix starting to do games and sort of looking at the list and being like, oh man, this all sounds pretty rough. I don't think this is going to be very good. And then the other day loaded up the Netflix app and like, hey, you've got games now if you want to check them out. Here's the sequel to Wonderputt. And I was just like, what the fuck?
How weird.
Yeah, so I've downloaded it, and I mean, I've literally only put about 15, 20 minutes in, but it's fucking great. I love it. It's the exactly the same sort of thing, but just there's way more of it. There's like a whole looks like a whole campaign to work through. Again, it's still got this really gorgeous like visual style. And you sort of it's mini golf, but You're sort of navigating all these like strange environments. Like I'm at a hole where like you're like in this arena, right? And there's all these holes in the floor. There's the hole you're actually supposed to get the ball in, but at the start of the hole, the ball's massive, like it's been enlarged. So you can knock to the other end, and knocking it to the other end shrinks it, but then it's small enough to fall in all the holes on the way back to the hole you're supposed to get it in. So you're like, so you're knocking it over when it's huge, making it shrink again, and then having to sort of navigate your way back through all these smaller holes. Just weird stuff like that constantly. Like every single hole, there's like, there's loads of holes where like you're supposed to like skim the ball across water and stuff, so you have to be like really careful how much power you use. But it's so simple to play. It's it's just one of those sort of press and hold and then drag your finger and let go. And that's it. So it's perfect for mobile. So yeah, as after slagging off, well, not slagging off, but just being slightly snotty about Netflix's big mobile game debut. They've I mean, there is definitely some stuff there that's that not of any interest to me. But this is an absolute banger as far as I can tell so far.
So this has no link with any Netflix IP. It's just a game they've got on the service.
Yeah,
right?
it's just on there. Yeah.
I just downloaded it. And it's on the iOS App Store. It says exclusively for Netflix subscribers. But it's free to download, and you have to log in. I've logged in with my Netflix details. I've got my Netflix profile there. It's quite weird. I haven't actually used a game.
It's
like
strange,
this
isn't it? It feels weird. Like, because you load it up and it's like it comes up with all your Netflix profiles. Like, oh, who's playing this? Same as when you load up Netflix. And it's like, right, who's watching? Which is odd. But yeah, good game.
I'm definitely gonna play this. I mean, I love a golf game anyway. I love What the Golf and Putt and Putter back on the Master System days. So I'm well into this.
Thanks
for making a recommendation.
Oh, no worries.
So is this? So this is a sequel to the game that you played on Flash a million years ago? Yeah,
straight sequel. As I say, like it even looks quite similar, and it's the exact same gameplay. So yeah,
superb.
What a nice surprise. I mean, there's also, I've not played it yet, but there's also Asphalt Extreme, which I got quite into Asphalt 8 on the Switch. So the fact that there's a new Asphalt game on there as well, which is actually probably decent.
Because I was so uninterested in the whole Netflix offering games, I just didn't even know it was out. What's the point? But I've just opened the Netflix app now. It's not like I got a notification saying games are here. So I don't know how I'd even find the rest of the library, I guess, unless I searched online. But it's cool they're doing it at least.
Yeah, and I mean, and as I say, this is probably unfair, but I'm scanning through, and it's like, you've also got Shooting Hoops and Nittens and Domino's Cafe, and they're probably all fine, but they're just very obvious. Like, let's do a version of a known game just to see. They're obviously testing the water, and then obviously like you say, the Stranger Things stuff makes sense because it ties in with Netflix shows. But then it's like Wonderputt and Asphalt. I was just like, oh, holy shit, that's really cool. So yeah, have a look on your Netflix app. So this is on iOS as well, is it? I couldn't remember if it was Android only at first.
I thought it was. I mean, like I said, I've just gone to the Netflix app. It hasn't said games are here, but I searched this game on the iOS App Store. Yeah, and I can download it, and I've logged in with all my details. So
right, cool.
So on Android, is there a section in the Netflix app to download them all?
So basically, there is a game section in the app. But then, so once you click on something, it then takes you to the Play Store to download it.
Okay, cool.
Which, fine.
I'm going to get playing this for sure.
Yeah, cool. That's it from me. Shall we do questions?
Yeah, sure. If you want to leave us a question, go to tcgs.co/dear TCGS. Just a couple this week. Timothy Quadrangle has messaged saying, if you had a Men in Black style mind wipe device calibrated to disappear gaming experience so you could play it again like it was new again, what would it be? Mine would be Mass Effect Trilogy. Experiencing that anew would blow my mind all over again. I know we've answered this in the past, but Sean's here now, so we can have a different answer.
God, I don't know. I always struggle with stuff like this. Go on.
Can I go for Animal Crossing?
Fuck, that's a good one.
because it's a joyful experience, but then it's an experience of diminishing returns, and it'd be quite nice to just to have that again. It would be nice.
We've not talked about the new stuff, have we? Really?
Not really.
Go on.
I've played it. I've played some of it. It's good. It's fine, but not enough that I'd want to shout about it. If you know what I mean? Because it's just
I don't have a single complaint about it. Like, I've really enjoyed the time I've spent on it, but in no way has it made me sort of go like, oh man, I'm playing Animal Crossing every day again. This is great.
Yeah.
So, that is a good answer. I mean,
are you both playing the stuff that came with the expansion pack?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so the stuff that's not part of that, like the general 2.0, is that really nothing to be shouting about?
No, it's still
really
good.
All about expansion.
The stuff that they've added is very impressive. Actually, like the amount of stuff, like the amount of content they've added is insane. Like, I mean, Chen is playing it all the time again now, and she spends a lot of time.
So it's done something right then.
Well, yeah, I mean, she spends a lot of time on Twitter looking at like what other people have designed as well, and just being jealous. Because she's just like, this is incredible, like what some people have managed to put together. It's like full on castles and
Yeah, I haven't bothered playing like the new stuff, but I did follow like a couple of people who are amazing at kind of Animal Crossing interior decoration on Instagram, and it's mind blowing how good some of this stuff is.
Yeah, even to the point where
to look at.
People like like the meme of like the is it the dog in the house with the fire like around this is fine. This is that one. Yeah. Like, someone managed to like recreate that, like because they worked out that because you can polish stuff in this version.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And you can add effects to the polish, so it doesn't have to be like a polishing like the. So they just changed it so it was fire instead. And then, so it's like you can just make it look like people's houses are on fire, which is pretty cool. But
amazing.
Yeah, I saw an amazing one that looked like some docks with water and boats and stuff, and I'm like, how have they done that? But like the floor graphics that they designed have been designed in such a way that from the angle the camera is, it looks 3D. It looks like there's some depth to it.
Yeah,
and it's so impressive. I'm like, I don't have they built that? No, it's mostly done using clever floor tiles that have made it look like they're walking on water and stuff.
Because I love those. Because
Really
you get a good 2 or 3 seconds of thinking like, oh man, like I should do something like this. That'd be really cool. And then it immediately sinks in like how much work it is.
I know.
Which only makes it more impressive. But not for me.
I started building a Mario world like using all the stuff from that, and it's like you look at it and I'm just like, oh, this is embarrassing. This is some rubbish. Like, I know I had to put a lot of work to make this look good. It's just embarrassing.
Yeah. Sean, are you were you an Animal Crossing guy? Or?
I was for the previous one on the 3DS. Like, I jumped onto the hype train with it, and I put so many hours into it. What actually killed it for me was when I realised it was work and not a game. And I was like, okay, I'm doing this because it's the day-night cycle thing. So it's like you only have a certain amount of time, and then I just became such a slave to like doing stuff for that game. And I was like, I really can't have this again. So when it did release last year, I'm really happy. It's fantastic. It was the perfect, isolation game, going and hanging out with friends in a world that's actually probably a lot better, obviously. But I was like, no, I can't be chopping trees and, fishing and, owing some money again. I couldn't do it. So, yeah, I love the game, but I can't do it again. It's too much for me for the time sink.
Yeah, and like, as you say, like, this one coming out during, the first lockdown, it was like, stuff that was busy work felt like a novelty because it was like, oh my god, going to the shops, brilliant,
go
what a
outside.
novelty! Like, but God, what was the question? Oh yeah, probably Area X from Res VR would be mine because that feels like a finite resource that I don't ever want to run out. So if I could reset the clock on that. And not remember it and start again anew. But then maybe it's not as impressive anymore. Now that like we're more accustomed to VR stuff, I wonder if it's still as mind blowing as it was back in the day. Because that was hell of a thing.
I think it probably would be. I mean, it's still up there with some of the best experiences. If you want kind of a music, kind of base like euphoric experience in VR. I think it's still one of the best ones. I mean, like VR has come on leaps and bounds, and there's much more kind of detailed like VR mechanics and all sorts that people are doing these days, which is mostly impressive. But I think there's a combination of music and VR that it's definitely up there. I mean, like Tetris Effect was also amazing in VR.
Yeah. It's interesting that, like, realism doesn't necessarily help with VR stuff. I find like probably my favorite looking VR game is probably it's a toss up between Area X or probably Walkabout Mini Golf because it's this really, it's sort of quite low poly, like untextured look, but they've gone in doing that on purpose and working with that style on purpose, and I don't know, it still looks believable to my eyes, but at no point are you like, these textures are a bit blurry, aren't they, or whatever. You don't see any of the hardware's shortcomings really. So it's a weird one.
I mean, that's why so many games these days are more stylized versions, because obviously Quest 2 is a mobile Android device. It doesn't have anywhere near the kind of power of PC VR or another kind of super powerful VR. But I had to go on the Varjo XR3 the other week. They came into the studio and that looks unbelievably good. Like almost like photorealistic graphics in like the environments that we were shown. It's an astonishingly high resolution per eye, like a massive field of view. And you were saying the other week, Sean, about with the pass-through camera on Quest not being good. Well, this has got like a 12 megapixel pass-through.
Oh shit!
A 12 megapixel camera, so the pass-through looks amazing. I mean, it's not like you're looking through glasses, but it's incredibly good. Obviously, you look through on Quest and you look like looking for a Game Boy camera, which is a second reference to that this week. But this looked amazing, and some of the environments just in that is it's VR like I've never experienced before, really. And
cool.
So photorealistic VR experiences are coming, and like again in this demo we were showing, you're in this like a studio for like an artist with the canvases everywhere. And also loads of other objects, like shiny objects, and you could go up to like a chrome or a shiny ball, and you can see the reflections around the room and the lighting reflecting off this thing. You see the textures and everything in the room, like canvases or like big kind of like almost like the sacks you're doing a sack race at school. You can see the textures of like the weave. So it's incredibly detailed and it's incredibly impressive. So cool. Yeah, and like when that kind of quality of headset becomes more commonplace, and we've got the power and developers want to use it, it's going to be something else. But for now, it's the more stylized experiences, the ones that people go for, because you can get a lot more out of a Quest 2 headset.
Yeah.
What's the question? Oh yeah, I mean, it would be for me. It would be either Disco Elysium or Outer Wilds. For me,
Disco Elysium would be a good one. Because I do want to go back to that with the full voiceover and stuff. Like I did a bit of it, and I was like, "Oh man, this is great." But it's a lot of time to put into something that I've already played. When I don't have a lot of time to play
I'd love to hear
new
the voice.
stuff. Yeah. So yeah, have we heard from everyone? I don't think we have we? Sean, what would you pick?
I think I would go with the original Halo Combat Evolved.
Okay.
Because there is a part of my heart I just remembered shooters and stuff not being didn't really nail the feel of the combat with the large open vistas, and then having just good kind of enemy types, and then the flood getting introduced, and then just great music, and then the relationship of Cortana and vehicles. It was a lot of things that was tied in together for me for playing that the first time. I don't know if it would still hold up. I mean, is this question something that we would like replay today? I mean, we've got the anniversary edition, and games have done that since, but I just have a lot of good nostalgia, and in fact a lot of my love for Infinite just comes from just how it just was a staple of just understanding combat. And 343 have run with that since Bungie, but it's just I just remember the theme, like just even the menu, it always just set me off ready to go for killing loads of Covenant, and then that would be my game. Like, there's obviously great FPS since then, but I think that was a game that just redefined something for me when I was at university, and it just did so much. And that's not even talking about the co-op and then the multiplayer. So that would be mine. Combat Evolved.
Yeah, I really hope Infinite harks back to all the things that made Combat Evolve so special.
Yeah.
By the time this podcast is out, the reviews would have already dropped. I think the embargo is early next week, or maybe... Yeah, I think it's early next week.
Yeah, I thought it was Monday.
It'll be out by the time you hear this.
Right, yeah.
God, I hope it's good. It'll be such a massive blow if the reviews come out. It's like, yeah, it's probably like a 7 or 6. And there's nothing wrong with 6 or 7s, but that would be a huge come down if that's the case.
Why would it be a huge blow?
Because I would just really want an incredibly good Halo campaign. I mean, I played through Guardians, and that was not great. But I really want a good Halo game to get stuck into.
See, my expectation for this is going to be like an 8, like a 7 or an 8 or whatever. Like going on what 343 have already done, like in terms of like the campaigns and everything. I'm not expecting this to be like a blow your mind kind of thing at all. I'm just hoping I'm going to have a good time with it.
Yeah, I'm not expecting blow my mind. I would obviously love that. Multiplayer is excellent. I feel like they've absolutely nailed that.
Well, this is it. Yeah, because I think people weren't entirely sure if they would nail the multiplayer. Now that they basically seem to have absolutely smashed that. So I mean, so possibly unreasonably, my brain's just gone, oh well, the single player will be fucking great as well, which is not necessarily a given. But yeah, it's like I feel like the this beta for the multiplayer has like really raised people's expectations for the campaign as well. I don't know.
I mean, it can't be as disappointing as the Guardians campaign.
Yeah.
Like that was just ill-judged and bringing in. You weren't even playing as like Master Chief, were you? It's just
that's
joke.
right.
So yeah, I really hope it's fantastic, but we'll see when it's out this week.
A friend of mine has been not badgering me, but like mentioning occasionally for like about 2 years now the possibility of us just like co-oping like all of the Halo games. Because Dave did this, didn't he, a couple of years back?
Yeah, he did a chat.
Yeah.
Last year or so.
And I can't remember how he felt about it overall by the end. I seem to remember there were certainly bits where he was like, "No, this is bad now."
Yeah, there wasn't low points. I think his main takeaway is that they got through them way quicker than he remembered Halo games taking. But
maybe
I just remember him saying that ODST is how he
bad.
hated
He didn't like ODST. Maybe I won't upon going back to it. I have fond memories of it, but
me too.
Maybe it doesn't hold up. I don't know. Or maybe I'll do it then. That probably would be quite good fun.
If you start now, then you'll be ready for Halo Infinite co-op in May.
That would be pretty cool. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I will.
See, I've been wanting to do that as well, but like I wanted to play it with my group, but then you can't play. Like most of them, you can't play 4-player. It's only,
that's right. It's only 2, isn't it? For most
2,
yeah.
Which is a shame.
Yeah.
Okay, last one, MD Krabuffs. Would you rather ride a bike, ride a horse, or drive a car?
Drive a car.
I've got a lot of questions.
I feel like is this a reference to something? Or is this just a sincere...
I don't think it goes that deep.
Okay.
There's no reference. I think it's merely...
I think we just take it
form of transport
at face value. I'd rather drive a car. So
I was going to say, I mean, selfishly, I know we're killing the planet. Unfortunately, drive a car is my answer. I mean... On the one hand, I do I sometimes. Do you ever wonder what it would be like if there were no cars anymore and we just went, right, fuck it, it's horses again. We're using horses again, and you had to just figure out where are we going to keep a horse in the house? Got to sort out a room for the horse. You got to figure out. Right,
everyone will start using their garages again.
Yeah.
See, I still need to buy a car because we haven't got one here, and I'm walking everywhere all the time at the moment, and I hate it. So I'm looking forward to driving a car again.
I was going to say, well, that's good, isn't it?
I bought a thing the other day because of having to go to the supermarket, as I've complained already about buying the milk and stuff. So I bought this bag that you can extend out, which has got wheels on the bottom, so you can drag stuff.
Oh, James!
And it looks awful. It looks
you 90 years old?
Well, that's the problem. And Chen refuses to use it. She's just like, I'm not touching it. And then I mean, the the description on Amazon was like, this is a stylish bag. It's not very stylish. It doesn't look that great. And she refused to use it, but it's too heavy, like the stuff that I'm carrying. So I don't care. I'm just dragging stuff along. It looks awful.
And I guess
who cares?
Because obviously language barrier being a thing, like a car is not something you can just order online and it turns up. It's a whole thing.
It's also like getting a car here is more complicated than it is in the UK. Like
really?
You can't just go and buy one.
God, that takes some doing.
It's quite complicated. Yeah. So yeah. Also, I have to get rid of my UK driving licence as well, which is I'm not very happy about doing that, which is weird.
You have to get rid of it? What do you mean?
Yeah, they take it off you and replace it for like a German one, and then destroy your UK one, which is like
what?
Great. And then it's fine because you can still drive on like a German driving license in the UK, so it's okay. But it's still just a bit weird. Like why can't I just keep it? Like why do you have to take it away?
That is odd.
I mean, I could just come back to the UK and just order another one. It's fine, but it's still just a bit odd, the way they just take it.
Weird that they would destroy the UK one.
Yeah, how odd.
Okay,
I guess I guess it's a risk of like duplicating, legal ID. I suppose.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
Must be something like that.
Yeah, someone else might use it to get into a club.
Yes, exactly. Or go around committing crimes and go, look, this is who I am. Sean, what about you? Are you a horse or a car man?
So I have a driving license, but I haven't got a car because I lived in London all my life, and other drivers scare me. So I'm like, I don't need that. I like the idea of riding a horse, but would you get like road rage, like other people on horses? And when does it become road rage and then crosses the line between jousting? Like I'm a bit worried about the thing that I would love.
You see, I think it would be okay because because the thing with cars is that you don't see the person in the car, right? You just see the car, and it's like it's an inanimate object.
Yeah,
well, not inanimate. You know what I mean? It's just a thing that you can get angry at, and then as soon as you like realize there's someone in there, it's like, oh, hang on a minute, I should probably calm down. But if it's just you and other people on horses, I feel like that's okay. I don't know.
Yeah, and then I guess
if they bring in jousts, as Sean says, I mean,
true.
Yeah.
I don't
think they're called jousts, but if they're doing jousting with whatever the things that are which they do, they're not called jousts, are they? Of course they're not.
What do you mean?
What are you talking about?
Like the big long things that. Oh, I've said too much.
You mean like the big long pole that you use? That is jousting.
Yeah.
No, but are the things called jousts?
No, I don't think so. What are they called?
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Sticks. What would you use if you had to grab something now to go jousting with in your house?
Probably just a
shatterproof ruler.
Yeah.
Okay, I know what it's called. It's called a lance.
Of course, it's called a lance.
Yeah, lance. Yeah.
I think you'll have to just a mop, or if I could take off the end of the Hoover, the big nozzle.
The big nozzle, yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
not many good options for modern jousting unless imagine just being like a company like Adidas, just being like, right, well, I guess we have to make lances now. Like it's big. It's a big business. It's everyone needs a lance to go when they're out commuting. They might get into a fucking joust.
And then there'll be lances for years and years, and suddenly Apple will release the iLance, and it's like, oh wow, it's like you just invented them, have you, Apple? Oh yeah, but also this has got incredible user experience.
Yeah, no fucking headphone jack.
You can find my lance, just in case you manage to lose it.
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, you wouldn't lose a lance, surely? They're fucking massive. Or maybe they would have like retractable ones, like those swords you give to kids,
because it's trackable with a
like the toy lightsabers. They just retract in. So then you wouldn't kill anyone with it. That's a bonus as well.
Yeah, I would bloody love to ride a horse as fast as possible, but it'd be very scary.
It's fucking terrifying. I say that I haven't done it since I was 4. I was like a friend of my mum's from work like looked after some horses, so she was so I like got some horse riding lessons for free when I was a very small child, and then like one time she was like, right, we're gonna make the horse run now, and I think I nearly threw up. So yeah, well, not recommended.
In 80s movies where there's a scene where two people are riding or they're bombing down the beach on horses, splashing around. I'd like to do that as fast as possible. I'll probably fall off and break my back, but I'd like to give it a go.
It's not good for you. I mean, not that this was a problem when I was 4 years old, but it's not great on the old family jewels. So,
oh right, yeah. Well, I bear that in mind.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm probably not going to be doing it.
No, it's not going to happen. I mean, maybe we need to organise this. Maybe this is a stream in the future. Put some of that Patreon money to good use. Get Matt some horse riding lessons and bomb it down a beach.
I mean, I was looking at these options here, and I was thinking like this could be a wild new triathlon.
Yeah,
there's like a bike phase. And then a horse riding phase and a car phase.
Maybe we
kind of triathlon I want to see.
Maybe we tell everyone we're going to do this if we reach like a certain Patreon, goal or whatever, and then when it actually comes to it, we just have like a weekend in Blackpool and we just put you on one of the donkeys and there you go. Have a little trot up and down the beach. Tenner.
Okay, I'm in. Let's do it.
eat way too many fish and chips and donuts.
That's it for questions. Yeah, go to tcgs.co/deartcgs if you want to leave us a question whenever you want.
That's it, innit? I mean, it's socials first, and then Sean can plug himself.
It's socials, then goodbyes. Yeah.
Cool.
So we'll get on socials. It is a super busy week this week as we get towards GOTY shows and whatnot. This week, this isn't just streams, this is all our stuff. So we're actually recording the Patreon bonus show this week, so that'll be out maybe Thursday this week. There's going to be no Pico Bell on Thursday night. We'll say that much, because Sean is preparing for what we're doing Saturday night. We'll come back to that in a minute. So no Pico Bill on Thursday. On Friday, Dark Souls 2 stream is happening live at 9 p.m. On Saturday, if you're a Patreon member at the £8.50 and above tier, we're doing In the Cuisining, the Christmas quiz, Saturday night at 9. That's why Sean is not doing Pico Bell on Thursday. He's preparing the questions and other shenanigans for Saturday. And then Sunday is when we're recording the GOTY draft, would you believe it? It's still coming out at the regular time, the following Wednesday. But yeah, there's a whole load of stuff happening. Bonus podcasts, Patreon stuff. GOTY draft, I can't believe we're this close to the GOTY draft.
Well, this is it, because on top of all the stuff we're actually doing for the show, it's like, oh yeah, by Sunday I've got to have played everything that I think might go on the list, which is terrifying. Yeah. Because there's definitely a few...
And Halo comes out on Thursday.
Yeah, Halo's out on Thursday. Fuck's sake. Yeah, it's going to be a weird one, but I'm quite looking forward to it.
So that's our streams and other content. But also on Friday, Dark Calls, the rerun is happening, of course, every Friday. We're rerunning old episodes of Dark Calls. This week it's episode 21 called Knock Knock, where James visits David IRL.
Oh my god!
And he brings his Dark Souls save file with him. Do you have any fond memories of that, James?
Yeah, it was all right. It was it was good actually, because I remember David did like that. He did like a playing out video thing for it and everything. Or I don't know. I can't remember. It was good. It was fun.
Yeah, I'm sure it was good. Anyway, that is out on Friday. Again, not on this feed. Search for Dark Calls in your podcast service of choice, and it will be there. Back on the Twitch stuff. If you Amazon Prime, you got Twitch Prime Gaming. With that, you get one free sub every month. You can't keep it. Can't take it with you when you die. You have to give it away. And we appreciate you went out to our channel and gave it to us. Patreon.com/TCGS, where you can subscribe and support us to access our Patreon content. And the website is tcgs.co for links to our socials, our beautiful Discord, and our store.
Amazing. Sean, thanks so much for joining us, man.
Thank you for having me. It's been a blast and very hilarious, which is the best kind of podcast.
Yeah, thank you ever so much, Sean. Yeah, Sean, if you want people to come and see you online, but where should they go?
Yeah.
I'll probably just only plug the Twitch, because that's kind of where I want to just make everything a bit more natural. So it's Extreme Matt, which is XTREME, and then MAT, which is not to be mistaken with Matt, who is on here. It's actually a name that I had, which used to be Matrix UK. It's a long story. I just took the Extreme, put the MAT, combined the two, and regret it ever since.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that, because when I saw that, I was like, hang on, is he called Matt, but Sean Labode is a pseudonym? Okay, so it was Extreme Matrix Fan 69. What were you calling it?
When I was at school, I was obsessed with Matrix. I'm still a big fan of Matrix. My name was Matrix UK. That's so lame right now. And I said, let's just take the MAT from Matrix, because I don't know any Matthews with MAT. And then actually, I've met yourself, my other half, and a few others. I'm like, yep, I've made a mistake. But only gamertag that is still unique. So yeah, it's technically Extreme Matrix, but it's Extreme Matt for short. So yeah, go follow. I'm on Twitch streaming in fact every day apart from weekends, just for good kind of work-life balance. So it's kind of chill. We do some tough games in a safe space, and lovely to have you guys come by again.
Yeah. We raided you, I think, the other week when you were playing a cooking simulator.
Oh man,
we got there and you're like, I put too much pepper in, or not enough salt, or I forgot to chop something.
Yeah,
I thought, how is this just a HD version of Overcooked? But no, it's much, much, much more technical.
Yeah, it's just every time you open an oven door and you've got a plate in your hand, you're smashing the plate and all of your good work is on the floor. It's tough, but yeah, we'll be doing more of that as well. So yeah, that'd be cool.
Cool, man. Sounds
awesome.
Good. Well, yeah, thanks again for joining us, man. It's been good.
Thank you.
Then that's it for this week. It's the Game of the Year show draft. next week, and I'm terrified. Is everyone else terrified? Am I weird?
Yeah, no, I'm fully terrified. I'm not I'm not emotionally prepared for the draft, and I certainly haven't prepared for the Game of the Year show.
There's going to be a lot of crossover, isn't there? I think
there is. I mean, it's going to be that thing, isn't it, where you're just thinking, oh, whatever I choose, somebody else is going to have chosen it as well.
Yeah, so my list of 4 games and 1 wild card, I know actually needs to be a list of about 10 games, because I think half of them are going to get picked before I get a chance to grab them. But it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I need to work on my wild cards, because last year I didn't really have a plan for that.
No,
and I just chose Stories Untold, even though, it's a good game, but no, I wasn't going to fight for it. So yeah, I need to think, really.
Yeah.
My God.
Cool.
It's coming. It's happening so quickly.
It is absolutely terrifying. But it's got to happen, hasn't it? It's got to be done.
It really does.
Join us next week for that. And thanks for letting us be natural. Hey, I forgot I get to do my sign-off, even though it makes no sense. Cheers, everyone. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, James.